ねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか。ケリーさん本当にごめんなさい。
さて行き先は？
ってもしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
Want to see something cool? Isn't it cute? Let's see what other sea creatures we can discover. What beautiful scenes are hiding under the sea? Let's explore the undersea mystery. Play matches and complete missions to earn tokens. Then use them to observe sea creatures and unlock them in your guide. The more you discover, the more rewards you can claim. Make sure to check in often, because rare sea creatures will periodically generate extra tokens. In Battle Royale, the adventure starts before you even land with a brand new whale-themed airplane. On Bermuda, look for mysterious whirlpool entrances that take you to the fresh, cool undersea realm. The high-tier loot zone becomes the Hydro Zone, surrounded by towering water walls. Don't worry though, you and your bullets can still pass through freely. Giant whales will also fly across the sky and drop bubble airdrops as they fly by. And yes, you can fish mid-match. Fishing spots will appear around the map, letting you reel in fish or even loot. Find upgraded fishing spots for even better rewards. Some fish will even follow you after you catch them and grant special buffs. Plus, there's a new event weapon, the Hydro Blaster. Hold fire to spray a continuous, super accurate water beam. When you run out of ammo or reload manually, a QuickTime event will pop up. Hit it to fast reload and gain a buff. Some other weapons can get this QTE reload too, so try them out when you find them. In Clash Squad, the Hydro Blaster is also available, along with the same QTE reload bonuses on select weapons. The Undersea Realm joins the Bermuda map pool, and cyber airdrops and spawn areas get themed visuals too. The ocean secrets are waiting for you to discover. Expect the unexpected. Random events may now pop up in Clash Squad to shake things up. You might start round 1 with 1,000 cash, get a random melee weapon each round, receive blue walls over time, and more. Good news to all tactical market enthusiasts. You can now deploy a tactical gadget right at your position with a simple tap. Fast and easy. Meet Ray the Watchman. Wielding both sun and moon power, he's on a mission to scatter the darkness. His active skill, Bond of Eclipse, tags the first unbound enemy hit in a fan-shaped area and creates a link with them that only Ray and the target can see. If Ray reduces the tagged enemy to a certain HP or below, they get instantly knocked down. If the target is knocked down or eliminated while tagged, Ray's skill resets immediately. For more skill adjustments, here's a quick overview. Some weapons have received balance changes. Check them out. Say hi to Pyro, your new fiery companion. Log in daily to watch Pyro grow and earn rewards. You'll meet Pyro for the first time when you open your profile. Choose Pyro's personality, drag them around your profile or lobby, and watch them pull off all kinds of cool moves. Pyro has 3 states: active, faded, and inactive. Daily logins keep Pyro active. Missing logins dim the flames, and staying away too long makes Pyro inactive. No worries though. Log back in and this little flame'll jump right into action. Every login boosts Pyro's EXP. Keep it going and Pyro will level up from a tiny spark to the ultimate fire puncher. You can also unlock new looks and accessories to give Pyro even more heat. presets will no longer be locked in once matchmaking starts.
Takes the lead.
Even better, you'll be able to adjust them in the cabin or before the first CS round starts. However, you'll not be able to switch presets once you've used the loadout. Don't forget to tap the preset button to check out what presets your teammates are using before making your choice. In-match quick messages are now smarter and will suggest messages based on what's happening on the battlefield. Tap on the message to send it out to teammates. Some messages will even auto-mark enemies on the mini-map for you. See a player with impressive stats at the end of a match? You can now invite them to your team right from the match results page. Team invites are also smoother. If you accept a booking request while you're in a match, you'll join your friend's team as soon as your current match ends, so you'll never miss an invite again. We can't wait for you to try out the improved filter system and new themed filters like Cyberpunk and Golden Era. Looking for a smoother gaming experience? Try out the new frame rate boost feature. If your frame rate is set to high or above, open settings and enable this feature to enjoy crisper, smoother gameplay. If you love the competitive vibe, the new CS custom room updates are for you. Now you can choose a specific map area for each round to get targeted practice. What's more, play and win like a pro with the new ban and pick mode, complete with the new ban and pick feature and esports-styled CS store and gameplay rules. And that's it for today. See you next time, survivors!
Ate said the moon and the sun aren't rivals. I still believe in that.
おい！それスノボじゃなくて人体だから。それにこれってケツでブレーキかけるやつだし、吉原大炎上の次は異世界大炎上なんてシャレになりませんから。
バカ！これぐらい犠牲を払ってこそコラボに対しての俺たちの気合が伝わるってもんだろ。
金ちゃんの言う通りある。コラボのためなら尻の一つや二つ差し出して当然ね。
ゲームは終わりだ。
え、皆さん、それって銃？
嫌いやろ。
ストロング最高です。ストロング、なんでこんなとこにまで。
話でやってくんねえか、サダール。そいつは新橋じゃねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか。ケリーさん、本当にごめんなさい。
さて、行き先は？
ピーク。
ってもしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
Hey there, want to see something cool? Isn't it cute? Let's see what other sea creatures we can discover. What beautiful scenes are hiding under the sea? Let's explore the undersea mystery. Play matches and complete missions to earn tokens, then use them to observe sea creatures and unlock them in your guide. The more you discover, the more rewards you can claim. Make sure to check in often, because rare sea creatures will periodically generate extra tokens. In Battle Royale, the adventure starts before you even land with a brand new whale-themed airplane. On Bermuda, look for mysterious whirlpool entrances that take you to the fresh, cool undersea realm. The high-tier loot zone becomes the Hydro Zone, surrounded by towering water walls. Don't worry though, you and your bullets can still pass through freely. Giant whales will also fly across the sky and drop bubble airdrops as they fly by. And yes, you can fish mid-match. Fishing spots will appear around the map, letting you reel in fish or even loot. Find upgraded fishing spots for even better rewards. Some fish will even follow you after you catch them and grant special buffs. Plus, there's a new event weapon, the Hydro Blaster. Hold fire to spray a continuous, super accurate water beam. When you run out of ammo or reload manually, a QuickTime event will pop up. Hit it to fast reload and gain a buff. Some other weapons can get this QTE reload too, so try them out when you find them. In Clash Squad, the Hydro Blaster is also available, along with the same QTE reload bonuses on select weapons. The Undersea Realm joins the Bermuda map pool, and cyber airdrops and spawn areas get themed visuals too. The ocean secrets are waiting for you to discover. Expect the unexpected. Random events may now pop up in Clash Squad to shake things up. You might start round 1 with 1,000 cash, get a random melee weapon each round, receive blue walls over time, and more. Good news to all tactical market enthusiasts. You can now deploy a tactical gadget right at your position with a simple tap. Fast and easy. Meet Ray the Watchman. Wielding both sun and moon power, he's on a mission to scatter the darkness. His active skill, Bond of Eclipse, tags the first unbound enemy hit in a fan-shaped area and creates a link with them that only Ray and the target can see. If Ray reduces the tagged enemy to a certain HP or below, they get instantly knocked down. If the target is knocked down or eliminated while tagged, Ray's skill resets immediately. For more skill adjustments, here's a quick overview. Some weapons have received balance changes. Check them out. Say hi to Pyro, your new fiery companion. Log in daily to watch Pyro grow and earn rewards. You'll meet Pyro for the first time when you open your profile. Choose Pyro's personality, drag them around your profile or lobby, and watch them pull off all kinds of cool moves. Pyro has 3 states: active, faded, and inactive. Daily logins keep Pyro active. Missing logins dim the flames, and staying away too long makes Pyro inactive. No worries though. Log back in and this little flamehead will jump right into action. Every login boosts Pyro's EXP. Keep it going and Pyro will level up from a tiny spark to the ultimate fire puncher. You can also unlock new looks and accessories to give Pyro even more heat. Presets will no longer be locked in once matchmaking starts. Even better, you'll be able to adjust them in the cabin or before the first CS round starts. However, you'll not be able to switch presets once you've used the loadout. Don't forget to tap the preset button to check out what presets your teammates are using before making your choice. In-match quick messages are now smarter and will suggest messages based on what's happening on the battlefield. Tap on the message to send it out to teammates. Some messages will even auto-mark enemies on the mini-map for you. See a player with impressive stats at the end of a match? You can now invite them to your team right from the match results page. Team invites are also smoother. If you accept a booking request while you're in a match, you'll join your friend's team as soon as your current match ends, so you'll never miss an invite again. We can't wait for you to try out the improved filter system and new themed filters like Cyberpunk and Golden Era. Looking for a smoother gaming experience? Try out the new frame rate boost feature. If your frame rate is set to high or above, open settings and enable this feature to enjoy crisper, smoother gameplay. If you love the competitive vibe, the new CS custom room updates are for you. Now you can choose a specific map area for each round to get targeted practice. What's more, play and win like a pro with the new ban and pick mode, complete with the new ban and pick feature and esports-styled CS store and gameplay rules. And that's it for today. See you next time, survivors!
Ate said the moon and the sun aren't rivals. I still believe in that.
おい、それスノボじゃなくて人体だから。それにこれってケツでブレーキかけるやつだし、吉原大炎上の次は異世界大炎上なんてシャレになりませんから。
バカ、これくらい犠牲を払ってこそコラボに対しての俺たちの気合が伝わるってもんだろ。
金ちゃんの言う通りある。コラボのためなら尻の一つや二つ差し足して当然ね。
ゲームは終わりだ。
え、皆さん、それって銃？
嫌いやろ。
話してやってくんねえか、サダール。そいつは新橋じゃねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか？ケリーさん、本当にごめんなさい。
さて、行き先は？
ってもしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
Want to see something cool? Isn't it cute? Let's see what other sea creatures we can discover. What beautiful scenes are hiding under the sea? Let's explore the undersea mystery. Play matches and complete missions to earn tokens. Then use them to observe sea creatures and unlock them in your guide. The more you discover, the more rewards you can claim. Make sure to check in often, because rare sea creatures will periodically generate extra tokens. In Battle Royale, the adventure starts before you even land with a brand new whale-themed airplane. On Bermuda, look for mysterious whirlpool entrances that take you to the fresh, cool undersea realm. The high-tier loot zone becomes the Hydro Zone, surrounded by towering water walls. Don't worry, though. You and your bullets can still pass through freely. Giant whales will also fly across the sky and drop bubble airdrops as they fly by. And yes, you can fish mid-match. Fishing spots will appear around the map, letting you reel in fish or even loot. Find upgraded fishing spots for even better rewards. Some fish will even follow you after you catch them and grant special buffs. Plus, there's a new event weapon, the Hydro Blaster. Hold fire to spray a continuous, super accurate water beam. When you run out of ammo or reload manually, a QuickTime event will pop up. Hit it to fast reload and gain a buff. Some other weapons can get this QTE reload too, so try them out when you find them. In Clash Squad, the Hydro Blaster is also available, along with the same QTE reload bonuses on select weapons. The Undersea Realm joins the Bermuda map pool, and cyber airdrops and spawn areas get themed visuals too. The ocean secrets are waiting for you to discover. Expect the unexpected. Random events may now pop up in Clash Squad to shake things up. You might start round 1 with 1,000 cash, get a random melee weapon each round, receive blue walls over time, and more. Good news to all tactical market enthusiasts. You can now deploy a tactical gadget right at your position with a simple tap. Fast and easy. Meet Ray the Watchman. Wielding both sun and moon power, he's on a mission to scatter the darkness. His active skill, Bond of Eclipse, tags the first unbound enemy hit in a fan-shaped area and creates a link with them that only Ray and the target can see. If Ray reduces the tagged enemy to a certain HP or below, they get instantly knocked down. If the target is knocked down or eliminated while tagged, Ray's skill resets immediately. For more skill adjustments, here's a quick overview. Some weapons have received balance changes. Check them out. Say hi to Pyro, your new fiery companion. Log in daily to watch Pyro grow and earn rewards. You'll meet Pyro for the first time when you open your profile. Choose Pyro's personality, drag them around your profile or lobby, and watch them pull off all kinds of cool moves. Pyro has 3 states: active, faded, and inactive. Daily logins keep Pyro active. Missing logins dim the flames, and staying away too long makes Pyro inactive. No worries though. Log back in and this little flame'll jump right into action. Every login boosts Pyro's EXP. Keep it going and Pyro will level up from a tiny spark to the ultimate fire puncher. You can also unlock new looks and accessories to give Pyro even more heat. Presets will no longer be locked in once matchmaking starts. Even better, you'll be able to adjust them in the cabin or before the first CS round starts. However, you'll not be able to switch presets once you've used the loadout. Don't forget to tap the preset button to check out what presets your teammates are using before making your choice. In-match quick messages are now smarter and will suggest messages based on what's happening on the battlefield. Tap on the message to send it out to teammates. Some messages will even auto-mark enemies on the mini-map for you. See a player with impressive stats at the end of a match? You can now invite them to your team right from the match results page. Team invites are also smoother. If you accept a booking request while you're in a match, you'll join your friend's team as soon as your current match ends, so you'll never miss an invite again. We can't wait for you to try out the improved filter system and new themed filters like Cyberpunk and Golden Era. Looking for a smoother gaming experience? Try out the new frame rate boost feature. If your frame rate is set to high or above, open settings and enable this feature to enjoy crisper, smoother gameplay. If you love the competitive vibe, the new CS custom room updates are for you. Now you can choose a specific map area for each round to get targeted practice. What's more, play and win like a pro with the new ban and pick mode, complete with the new ban and pick feature, an esports-styled CS store, and gameplay rules.
From the blazing flames of the South Asia play-ins, 8 squads have risen through fire. Today, 18 of the deadliest teams in Asia step up into the arena. The 8 squads from the play-ins colliding head-on with the 10-seeded powerhouses. 3 groups, 12 games to earn points. Every placement, every elimination, and every booyah will count as they fight for the top 12 spots to qualify for the grand finals. This is where South Asia's thunder meets Southeast Asia's fire. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages, welcome to the free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring main event. I am the Angel Mustachio, down here with my doppelganger from Purgatory, the one and only Lucifer.
Super ecstatic for the main event to start off things. We did witness chaos unfold in our South Asia plains, but right as of now, it is going to be the Southeast Asian thunderstorm brewing up with teams coming in for their chance at the title, right? We saw South Asia plains, we saw phenomenal teams, we saw a team who toppled the table completely in their favor. But what is going to unfold when the Southeast Asian teams, that is the question mark today. It's going to be unraveling in front of us, AJ.
Absolutely, man. Play-ins dominated by India, we can all say, right? A total of 5 squads from India made it to the top. 2 Bangladeshi firehouses as well stepped on in. Team 2XD as well as Extreme X prove that they have exactly what it takes to play the qualifier as well as make it through into our main event. But what can they do here when they bump into some squads that were worthy enough to be invited directly into our main event? That's exactly what we got to see. Will Revenant XSpark be able to set themselves ablaze not just here in the main event but also get into the grand finals and get things done? Because being able to activate Champion Rush is only condition number 1, and we know for a fact they can definitely make a 4 booyah run within a day to do that. But can they get a booyah when it counts the most, when all of the other titans are competing for it as well?
And as you mentioned, can they make it happen? They did when it came to qualification, because they ended their run on day 2, and many teams from Group B itself ended their run. And out of the 6 teams in that group, 5 made it to the main event. That's the best part. And with that, let's take a refresher course for anybody who's joining us new. The tournament timeline in front of our screen started the last weekend, 8th, 9th and 10th. But that was only the South Asia plains. 4 regions competing: India, Pakistan, Nepal and Bangladesh. But now 14, 15 and 16, it is the main event where another set of teams are going to fight for one chance at the hit towards the grand finals. That is going to be this weekend, the Sunday, the championship day with Champion Rush.
Oh, I mean, Champion Rush, that's the one condition that has been throwing every single squad out there in a fix. It has not been easy, and teams that usually find dominance on the battlefield are still finding it difficult to call themselves champion by the end of the day, all because of the Champion Rush rule. And because right now, in the current state of the competition, booyahs truly matter. To play qualifiers, maybe no booyah, no problem. At the grand finals, no booyah, very, very big problem. And this is exactly what we have to deal with. And again, let's break it down, right? The South Asia plays, we had 18 invited squads, 3-day round robin. The top 8 have now qualified into the main event. Here, we have got the invited teams from both South Asia as well as Southeast Asia, totaling up to 10 squads, which means we have 18 teams once again. Our grand finals can only host 12 squads, and that's exactly what we are playing through. A total of 2 days of play for each of the group here, Lucifer, which means only 12 games to qualify for the grand final.
12 games to qualify, and while the South Asia plains were a breakthrough for the teams from India, 6 teams ended up qualifying from the top 8 and 2 from Bangladesh. Nepal and Pakistan, unfortunately, from the South Asia plains, we did not see their qualification team. However, in the main event, we do have 1 team each from the regions, but joining in that is going to be Southeast Asian teams. That moving towards the grand finals is going to be a tough battle, but is there going to be a lot more Indian teams, Southeast Asian teams? All will know, but they have another challenge when they reach the grand finals, is the Champion Rush condition. They have to first get to 80 points. Whether with the booyah, without the booyah, doesn't matter. You have to get to 80 points at the end of a game. That's when you activate your Champion Rush. And then the biggest of all challenges, as you mentioned, no booyah, very big problem, is only if you get a booyah, you're crowned the champions.
Absolutely, and unlike previous competitions, we have got no maximum number of games capped here, which means we keep going on and on and on and on until we find a team that achieves this. Now, looking for the most number of points does not matter on the leaderboard anymore. And of course, all the hustle is for this. The teams that have made it into the main event, every single squad gets to walk away with something in their hands. Of course, the biggest difference is how big is the slice of pie that your squad gets to eat. Everybody is looking at the $15,000 sitting on that first place. A total of 50K USD on the line.
That is a big amount to win for anyone right now playing in the main event. And yes, as you already mentioned, they have a part and a parcel of this 50,000 USD. But do they want just the 18th position, $500, or if there is a chance to get the $15,000 for themselves, or even the 7,500, they will all strive towards that. And that's what I'm looking forward to, where these teams end up. But yes, congratulations to all the teams who've made it. So you've at least unlocked a part of the prize pool in your name, but it is not all you're going to be getting for.
Yeah, we talk about climbing to the top, but how do you climb to the top? The cardinal rules of Fire Esports, the same from the very first day I started casting years ago. You hit the booyah, you walk away with 12 placement points, 9 placement points for that second spot. You minus off 1 point for each consecutive spot that you take below that, except down at the very bottom, 11th and 12th place gets you no placement points at all. But you can buffer your points up with those eliminations. Every elimination gains your squad 1 point.
On top of that, we have seen teams pull off a 30 total point game just because of the amount of eliminations they stack up. But there's one thing, being a little devilish here, is the tiebreaker rules that I do want to see unfolding, which we did miss in the South Asia Plains, is starting off with the number of booyahs in case you match with somebody, especially with only qualification at stake towards the main event, as if only the thing that you are going to be striving towards, because that is the main thing. And in case that matches up, then you go towards total eliminations. Even if that matches with the team that you're tying with, the last thing is going to be, and for sure this is not going to match, is the ranking in the final game. But I'm pretty sure none of the teams qualifying to the grand finals want to go towards tiebreaker, because they'll be only wishing they have better than the other teams in terms of stats.
Introduced back in 2025, this has been one of the most welcome updates in our esports circuit. The entire squad must run 4 unique active skills, which means no duplicates allowed, no 4 Tatsuyas bursting all around the battlefield. It prevents the one-trick pony meta stacking that has made the competition so much more creative in terms of composition from these squads, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I feel like Garena Free Fire as a whole has really improved the squad, the game out there, where they've made so many of these active skills viable now.
And on top of that, even the patches coming in, right, that has helped teams to change their meta, change the agent, the characters that they were using, all of that coming into a play where we are now enjoying. Yes, the most recent has not been used, but we are seeing more coming into play. But what happened in our place in the South Asia Plains is the journey so far. Right in front of you, we saw Revenant XSpark. They topped the table. They were the most dominating, undeniable on day 1. 4 booyahs out of the 6 games, 133 total points, and on top of it, 48,000 damage. They were unstoppable on day 1.
The OB53 update has been a huge blessing for all of the snipers out there. You ask players like Vincent, they'll definitely agree with me, because the snipers are empowered to find these shots from afar. The snipers have been buffed up to no end. You now have got the same damage onto the limbs like you have on the body, which is a huge deal breaker here for some of the squads out there who have been looking for big points. And I think they have been abused very well by these squads who have pushed a little bit more prioritization onto their snipers. Revenant XSpark, definitely, they lit up the day on day 1. I can say pretty much they found a majority of their qualifier points on this day number 1, but that was not the only day where they performed, right? Day number 3 as well, we saw them go back in there and bring so much of pressure, but no booyahs on that second day of play though, which makes me very worried, because you kind of need those booyahs more towards the end of the competition rather than the start. So I'm waiting to see what kind of Revenant XSpark we find out there today as well.
That's something of a trouble that Revenant XSpark have faced throughout their journey, even when we were seeing them in the Indian circuit. But along that lines, there are 2 more Indian teams who have performed very phenomenally on day 2 and day 3. And table topping, that is going to be Aiko Total Gaming on day 2 and day number 3. When NXT Esports realized this is their last and only chance to qualify, they surged through, ended up getting a total of 105 points to make their way into qualification for the main event.
Yeah, they scored a double booyah on that day. Beautiful stuff from the squad. And of course, they've managed to qualify for the main event as well. This is the team list today. We only see the action between Group A and B. Group C will be in participation tomorrow. And these are the squads that will be in participation. Team 2X, the Autobotz Esports, Revenant XSpark, Titanic Esport, Team Hind, the recent Indian champions, coming back in here. I'm very excited to see them in play and expand as well for Group A. Group B, on the other hand, has got the Nepali squad of Horaa Esports, Extreme X from Bangladesh. We've got GG Instinct out of India alongside Godlike Esports, Pandora Stars from Indonesia, as well as Lakar EWG from Malaysia.
in this team list, a lot of eyes are going to be on these Southeast Asian as well as the South Asian teams who have been invited to the main event directly, and they did not have to go through the South Asia play-ins of what they can do, and their metal, their firepower, all will be seen as survivors from the South Asia play-ins will be challenging them today. And like teams, Team 2XD and Extreme X, how they managed, like we ended up seeing Extreme X on day one perform really well, and thankfully because of that they were able to make their way into qualification, whereas Team 2XD were very consistent, scoring points up and down, and they made their way through, and the only two Bangladeshi teams along with the Indian teams that we ended up seeing make their way into the South Asia play. So it's going to be a very interesting group to see the battle where we have a mix of champs and the teams who've had to go through a lot to just qualify here.
Absolutely, man. NXT will be in participation as well, but we'll go through this one by one. Team 2XD, Autobotz Esports, Revenant XSpark, Titanic Esports. The ones that definitely stand out is Titanic Esports for me. The ones from Thailand. I mean, the team name might not be very popular, but the players in here are very popular. You look at Poom, this guy has got Esports World Cup written all over him. He's the sniper of the squad. You've got Caramel as the sub. And when you've got Caramel, one of the top players of AG in here as the sub for Titanic, you know this squad is definitely carrying some heavy firepower there. You've also got Chinai, an ex-player from AG Global. They are in here to definitely rock it. I am afraid for the other squads because of the potential that Thailand has within this grouping.
And especially they've been now backed with the champions title. Yes, the champion squad right now of the 25th season is not there, but they are from that region. So another opportunity for Thailand to take that title away. But who are their challengers? We have Team Hind from India, Expand coming in from Malaysia, Horaa Esports, the only representative right as of now from Nepal, and Extreme X. Right as now standing out, at least in this team lineup, is going to be Team Hind because they already have a title, recently getting Tha's FFMIC 2026 Spring. Now they're already on their search for another title. This is their opportunity. They showed up, they were underrated back then and proved everybody that that is not a card or a coat you have to be worried about against the popular teams. You can still get the title and gave everybody in the scene and the survivors belief that you can be the champions.
And Extreme X from Bangladesh definitely broke a sweat during our play-ins of South Asia, where they just scraped through on that 8th spot. RX Esports was so close to them on the overall leaderboard, and they made it through with one extra point. They definitely have to appreciate all of the booyahs that they picked up for themselves. But of course, Extreme X has to be very careful because they were not very consistent with their positioning on the leaderboard game after game. The final team lineup here before we move on to the next scenes. You've got GG Instinct, Lakar EWG, Pandora Stars, Godlike Esports. I mean, just so much of star power right here. You look at Godlike Esports, I dare say they've got one of the biggest fan bases in India.
Yeah.
But when you look at Pandora Stars, this is what I'm very afraid of. Yes, you've got your Thai team who are very good mechanically, but so are the Indonesians. Otang 99, Putra 15, they are going to be pretty scary out there. I wonder if or not they're going to be on their top play though, because not the most consistent squad out of Indonesia, even if they are dangerous.
Yeah, but they also have the backing of the history of how the scene is in Indonesia. So that's something that they would want to prove and get that opportunity of becoming the Asian champs. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be an opportunity for not just them, but also their region and as a squad to make sure that everybody knows their name. Just like how we remember Avida X KDC, who made it from the play-ins, main event and the grand finals previously, denying all the fan favorite and trophy holders in the lobby in 2025. Now that it's time for 2026 and the main event starts now, the game schedule in front of our screens. We start with the very first game, that's going to be next Terra, and then we unfold the gates of Purgatory open and making our way towards evening. Our 6 games is game number 3 at Kalahari, and after that we start off with game number 4, where Neptune and Arca will be carrying you towards the journey towards realizing who is going to be at the top at the end when we finish Bermuda and our game 6 randomizer.
Game 6 randomizer is definitely going to be that one that could just bless a squad out there. Not every squad has found total dominance on all of the 5 maps that you've got available in here. And some of the teams who definitely did not find big points on Alpine would be smiling now. But can they smile a little bit more when they get gifted by the goddess of Free Fire, RNG, the map that they would prefer to play on later on? We'll have to wait and see. But of course, Neptune and Arca will walk you through that, just like what Lucifer said. But of course, the two of us will be entertaining entertaining you on the first 3 games. Nextera, we start off on a place where your snipers can have a good field day out there as long as your opponents are making those long, absolutely careless rotations. But Nextera is a place where it serves up a lot of defensive compounds, which means the M590s, those Mag 7s are definitely going to be hot in this game.
I really like in the first 3 games that we are going through, AJ, it is going to be Nextera, Purgatory and Kalahari. It is going to be a fest for the snipers, and it's going to be very interesting for us to witness this battle unfold. And it is the start of the day. It is the start of the main event. This is the first time that the Southeast Asian teams as well as South Asian teams are going to be fighting here in FFMAI 2026 Spring. That makes it even more exciting to see who actually is going to be able to rise through fire today. While South Asian Plains challenge is done for the teams, they have to now figure out, can they make it to the main event? That is the biggest of challenges. We already spoke about how Group B, right? Majority of the teams from there made it out. But now and today, it is not going to be that easy. One group understanding of where the lobby is at, how they have to fight, how much points they need to accumulate. It could not be as that challenging. It could get even more exponentially hard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And especially because this is day 1 of the main event and game 1 of the main event. Yes, we've got some teams who have made it in here from the South Asia play-ins, but a lot of squads who definitely did not play, which means we will be able to take a peek at their preferred drop spots, but that does not necessarily mean that's exactly where they're going to drop. If that is where they're going to drop, then we're going to have a lot of chaos for the first game in itself, where we're going to see some squads really establish their dominance on certain maps out here. Who those squads are going to be, or will we see some big teams get kicked out a tad bit too early from the very first map that we play here at Nextera? We'll have to wait and see, right? We've got a little bit of information, thankfully, for the preferred drop spots of these squads, and it does not look good for some of them. I think we see a 3-way battle here. Godlike, Lakar EWG, as well as Titanic at Plazaria. This is going to be crazy. I hope Godlike is nowhere near this area for the sake of Lakar EWG, because if you compare these 3 squads, I would put them at the lowest in terms of firepower.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially looking at their records as well, Godlike have not had a day 1 great start at all whenever it comes into starting their play. And today being the day 1 of the main event could strike trouble, but hey, they've at least coped up their way towards when we saw in the South Asian plains. But when you spoke about the 3-way standoff, I ended up seeing even another 3-way clash all the way from Intellect Center, Twin Bridge and Zipway. 6 squads in total will be fighting it out with Revenant XSpark and Extreme X starting it off, then Team 2XT and Expand, and then we end up seeing Pandora Stars and GG Instinct. Out of this, yes, we all are excited to see what the Southeast Asian teams start bringing in the main event, AJ, but one team that strikes a name for me is going to be GG Instinct. These guys are the troublemakers. They wait at the edges of the zone. Trouble teams who are trying to rotate, catch them off guard and start getting their eliminations, and even trouble them so much that they don't manage to qualify.
Intellect Center, if anybody has got an ounce of brain on them, they would want to avoid Revenant XSpark at all costs. I just don't know how much of this information the squads have out there, because they're already prepped for this lobby. Extreme X might just have an extreme encounter very early on in this game. We know Revenant XSpark as the squad that starts off super hot, so it would be very much advisable for squads to stay clear of Revenant XSpark's way just for the day. But of course, we have got no idea how they're going to be rotating out there. The squads don't know. At least if they had watched the South Asia plains, they'll have a little bit of an idea.
While we speak about ideas, AJ, if teams have they've figured out what they can do, and even we kind of talk about if teams have read opponents' strategies to figure out, can they take them down? And that's something that we also do here on Desk, is try to predict if we could make our predictions for the game number 1 and if it does work out. And I can see we've at least gone with 2 names which are same on either end. That's going to be Titanic as well as Revenant XSpark. And then we've still picked the region as being same is from Bangladesh, Team 2XT at your end, and I pick up Extreme X. I was a little confused between Titanic, Pandora and Expand. I wanted one of these 3 in my top 1 picks, and I eventually had to choose Titanic because of the Thailand backing and that the region is always proven in power.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely got their butts kicked the most, because we have got like the most serious squads in the world of Free Fire Esports in Thailand, and very capable as well, right? You've got the 3-time world champs there. You've got everybody just waiting to go at each other. It's one of the most difficult regions in terms of play. So obviously they had a lot of practice, all right? So I'm expecting them to make all of that practice be good in terms of enough experience to be picked up to come here and show the rest of the teams in Fire Max Asia Invitational exactly what they're made of. I'm glad that we are 3 for 3 on the region predictions on all 3 parts, right? We've got Thailand, India, as well as Bangladesh. I think Team 2XD is going to rise up. You think Extreme X is going to rise up. Either way, Bangladesh is on our top 3, and I do expect them to perform out there. I think they also have to learn a little bit from what happened at the South Asia Play-ins, right? One big thing is Extreme X took the 8th spot and Team 2XD was 1 level above them in terms of qualifying for our main event. What's surprising is, even though Extreme X was below them, they had 2 booyahs with lesser placement points. This is insane. So the consistency is with Team 2XD. But the problem is, if you make it into the grand finals and you cannot score the booyah, Team 2XD is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, big time, especially that it is Champion Rush. It is not about there's going to be maximum games, you end up at the top of the charts and you will be awarded the champions, right? No. And I hope Team 2XD start planning towards grabbing those booyahs, whereas Extreme X, now I don't know if they had all the blessings, if everything was going in their direction. They qualified with a total of 170 points. The team at the next spot was at 169, 1 point away, and they ended their game on day 2 itself. This is how teams qualified from the South Asia Plains to the main event, but now it's time to start the game number 1 to see what new unfolds in the very first game for Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring Main Event is next, Terra.
Let's hop on into the very first battle of the day. I know you guys want some slugfest out there, so we have to expect those hot drops for sure. And because it's the very first game, Life Path looks pretty decent. He doesn't want to bully these squads just yet, allowing them to pick any parts of this next era map that they want to fly on into. The main focus will be on that Intellect Center. Does Extreme X and Revenant XSpark stick with their Intellect Center drop? It looks like Extreme X is already heading on in there. Revenant XSpark Divine in off towards the far end of Intellect Center. We're definitely going to have a hot drop here. It is as shown in our drop spot preference. Godlike dropping by as well. This is just going to be crazy as we kick this match off. Tons of hot drop for us to enjoy.
And there it starts off with Revenant XSpark in trouble. Elimination leaders Extreme X and X Divine at the corner of Intellect Center. We were banking on the contrary to be happening here. Extreme X should have been in the other direction, but in big trouble. And look at them. They even pick off a player from Team Hind. He decided to make his flight path in the other direction from his teammates in Shoto. He'll also be confirmed in a very strong start coming in from Extreme X by a total of 4 eliminations.
Well, Expand is going to be that little bit of distraction to help Revenant XSpark find the vending machine and bring at least 1 player back in here to stand a chance at survival. Extreme X have been extreme so far on the drop. They've got the right guns. And here comes Flicker. He's the one who's running straight in for the attack. Will be spotted by the Waltz player on the side of Expand. Sejan with a P90 in hand. Valiant dashes straight into the wall. Flicker dropped down by Xeon. Expand coming in here to save their buddy. Luki fights one as well. Expand dropping Extreme X players one after the other.
They will be eliminated, Extreme X. They did not read, they did not check. They were running across the compound. And they will end up losing their opportunity after having a very strong start, AJ. Unbelievable and similar. Plazaria, we spoke about this. Godlike should have not traded in this direction. It's down to the last 2 players, the IGL, Yogi and Marco. He spots 1 player from Titanic, wants to go for an individual duel. Chinoy is against him. Just has a mini Uzi and it's same in the other direction. But he used up a lot of time and they surged together. And Yogi, he'll also be put down, and Godlike also in big trouble.
Now, Godlike in big trouble, but there was a double revival pulled in here by the Godlike player, which means they'll still be active in a little bit. Horaa bumping into a couple of players out here as well. Autobotz from India dropped 1, who now brings Madcod right back in. Easy revivals, but can they pick off the Horaa players one after the other? Team 2XD dropping by as well. Psycho with the M590 making his way up. Valiant dashes through the defenses. Finds one easy one for himself. And Horaa losing 2 players to Team 2XD who dropped by for those points.
But Team 2XT are not alone here. There's Autobotz who made their way, but Autobotz, not all their players. So they're waiting for an opportunity, and finally Team 2XT will be able to spot their glue walls. And now, Autobotz, if they don't initiate a battle, they're the ones who are going to be suffering. And yes, it is Don't Cry who starts off, finds a knock. And now Autobotz, they wanted to challenge. They will be challenged on the contrary. Mad God with a quick hit on the revive, whereas one of his players decides to run in the other direction.
Pandora running straight at Team 2XD. Godlike might just have a little bit of a blessing here. Autobots watching all of this breakdown. They could just interfere towards the tail end of this battle. Team 2XD might be in a little bit of trouble now as Pandora has got the advantage. They are fully healed. The electrotherapy on connection as they try to hunt down the Team 2XD players. Spotted out off the top. Fahim tagged up. Good glue wall pulled out. And Fahim wins the fight up against the Autobots player Venom with the M590. But that's the wrong squad. Wrong player for you to tease. And he finally gets caught as well. Just a few extra seconds of survival for Fahim finally comes to an end. But that's the only player that will be in the compound, but pulled in for a revival as well. And now Godlike versus Pandora kicks off.
It seems like this blessing in disguise almost is working in Godlike's favor. Quick on that hit and grab the elimination on Notang. And now they instantly back off. They don't want to continue this fight and even get their players back up. Yogi is now back in action. That was quick play coming in from Godlike. Even after not having a strong start, they still have a lot of challenges that they have to be battling throughout Solara. Now Nextera. One of their strong games is what we kind of expect that they would want to start on, but that's not always what we end up seeing. But Pandora on the other end, they were the ones who made a challenge here against Team 2XT, did win it out, but did not predict that there is another squad that they have to be worried about.
Very smart play from Godlike, backing away as they waited for their active skills to refresh. And you see that Valiant Dash used perfectly there. Pandora did not see that one coming. Brilliant play for Godlike, just buying enough time. The moment those active skills refreshed, they went in there for the rush. Nobita will be lost here in that battle, but an easy revival comes on through. Marco can afford to buy back another player, but I'm sure they don't want to lose another one. Pandora only with Theo now in this compound. And I'm very sure he's not too worried about losing his life. But is he going to buy time for the rest of the team members to join him once again? I don't think that's going to be the case, as Godlike should be able to pick up another point for themselves.
Theo super low right now. Nancy has done the damage. His teammates are surrounding him. You all for the time being, but Kisan, and there, as you said, it seems like the challenge is about to happen. Pandora from afar. One of the players did manage to find a knock, but they're still not close by. So Theo is as of now buying time as much as possible. But finally, the knock does come through. Confirmation as well, and they don't lose Nancy. It looked like almost Pandora were about to bring back this fight, but it didn't happen for the time being.
Oh no, that was very dangerous. I don't think Kisans was in the right place to take that shot, but there was a desperate attempt to save Theo. Did manage to get the knock onto Nancy, but no confirmations coming through. Easy recovery for Godlike. And that should have been that warning sign for Pandora to quickly back away from that compound. We don't see any other eliminations on our elimination feed, which means Pandora is going to survive this for the time being. Expand picking up those solid points. Luki with the 7th elimination for the squad now coming on through. Revenant XSpark on the other hand, on the run as Expand goes in for the chase. Vincent's going to be spotted out here in a little bit. Afik with the electrotherapy, he's the one who's supposed to be hanging back, but he's hungry for this elimination point. Zeon right in front. An easy shot for Zeon with the M590. They pick up elimination number 8.
They knew this player was all alone, and that is one of the reasons they were so strong on it. But however, being all alone, losing their plays and also their players one after another is Revenant XSpark from the very start. X-Divine back at the same spot here in Intellect Center. He has enough money, he can revive his whole squad, but there is still trouble as Horaa Esports, they make their way here towards Intellect Center. So for him to go back to the vending machine, revive the team, and if he doesn't do it in time, he doesn't plug them all back up, that is going to be the end for Revenant XSpark in the very first game. And for us to even have them on our predictions, now we are troubled looking at this name with 0 elimination so far. Only X-Divine using the boost, making a run in as ends of Nextera's lands and finding a vending machine if possible.
No trouble. He got 2,200 coins on him. He will get the full squad back in here. I have trust in Revenant XSpark. I'm not going to predict them for the next game. I'm 3 eliminations strong so far. The Indian champs eliminated so early by the Indian counterparts Autobotz, shots from afar. Early end to Team Hind. Only 3 points in the bag for them before they got taken out.
What a play from Autobotz. Earlier, we did see them. They were a little troubled when the fight was happening at Mudside. They were, yes, forced off that position, but now confidently end up taking a team out of the race in the very first game. Expand, after troubling Revenant XSpark, have spotted another squad taking shots at them, and that's going to be Team 2XT. Right at the edge of the play zone. Team 2XT, this is the very first game. They would want to make it count, and as you already mentioned, they need to start playing games for the booyah, not just the placement points and eliminations. They need to plan for booyahs, and that's how they could maybe become the champions and even make Bangladesh completely proud.
So we've got a Cassie, Morse on the side of Expand. They're definitely in here with the right skills to play an aggressive game. Horaa, on the other hand, we haven't really seen this narrow in play just yet. Perhaps this will be gifted to us as Titanic looks to set an appointment with Horaa before they make it into the next compound. I think the boys of Horaa have been spotted out already. This next circle is definitely not going to be forcing them out of their defenses just yet. And by the looks of things, both Titanic and Horaa will be waiting for a little bit of information on the next circle before they decide if or not they want to move out. Lakar EWG, on the other hand, spotting out Autobotz, and this is a big fight on hand.
Autobotz, they did end up eliminating a team, but now Lakar EWG, they're going to be a new team in the lobby, and the very first opening was found, but quick trade coming in from Luki. That was just a knock for the time being, but GG Instinct, the troublemakers, are also going to be nearby, and with the Bolt Maker, Luki is trying to just buy some time while Expand, they find their opportunity to even trouble Lakar EWG. And if this continues, Lakar, who wanted to make their intro towards Autobotz and try to win that fight out, are going to be in trouble just because of the scope coming in from Luki.
Yes, still a great defensive spot for Lakar EWG. Revenant XSpark, I mean, took him a while, but Divine has brought the full squad back in here for the play. Lakar EWG being pressured by Expand, but we don't even see them on the free cam. I wonder what position they are holding right now. GG Instincts from afar are least of the problems of Lakar EWG right now. Autobotz, I thought this was going to be a big fight between Lakar and Autobotz, but this one just doesn't come through just yet. GG Instinct spotted out. Lakar EWG thinks this is the squad that was shooting at them, but it is not. They get the first knock. Beautiful. Riptide Rhythm sent on fourth as well. The glue wall's broken down, but GG Instinct just hopping away to safety.
They'll be happy. They make it across. Nothing much to be worried about for the time being, but the zone's closing in. This is already a strategy that we spoke about, GG Instinct. They love playing at the edges of the play zone, but that also does strike trouble. But for the time being, nice binoculars coming into play, coming in from Lakar EWG. Now they're again thinking, wait, if that's not the team and they're at the edge of the play zone, which was the other team? And it rightly strikes towards Autobotz, and a great nade coming in from AK. He does big damage to Johan, and now Venom also in trouble with position compromised on the air one being used. This is going to be Lakar EWG trying to push and eliminate, but on the other end, Autobots also have another trouble. Yogi, teams from so far W, and there it is, the nades that were being tossed relentlessly. AK does find the elimination.
A phenomenal nade there by Arkid, just stealing that one away from Yogi. Yogi did the work, Arkid gets the point. Venom suffering because there's no vending machine around him. He's trying to figure out how can he bring back the rest of the Autobots players. Yogi now takes Arkid down. That's revenge if I ever saw one.
It is, as of now, a revenge, but can he get the confirmation? Lakar EWG were earlier a little troubled by Expand, but then it did get fended off. And yes, that positioning coming in from Lakar EWG and them being hit from Expand, who are towards the northern side of the circle, is a surprise. But for the time being, Lakar EWG, knowing that they have the circle, are still staying there. And the compound for themselves, they're not giving anybody else an opportunity. So the only next circle gives us an idea of what's going to be unraveling, what's going to be happening. GG Instinct waiting for an opportunity, and what a shift! Leaves everybody, goes completely north, even Expand at the edge. And look at Expand hitting the right arrow on to get to know where Team 2XD is. The full squad now revealed.
Horaa and Titanic both think they're welcome in their defensive spots, but Titanic a little bit more blessed because the next circle's right beside them. Horaa, on the other hand, will have to get through this next battle. Pandora from Indonesia bumping into them, but they will be laid out on the floor as Stops pulls out the mini Uzi as well. dismantling Pandora right as they try to make entry into the defensive spot. Circle's now going to start closing and the Nepali squad has to start moving right now. GG Instinct with Patlu down on the ground. Can they afford the pickup? Yes, they can. And right back in it as they call out the lightning zone as well to stop Godlike and Autobotz from overwhelming them.
They've already put down Lakar EWG and now on confirmations, and yes,
Whoa!
so are they getting. But a nade parade coming in, and that is going to be an end. We just saw it on the feed. Titanic, these were the lads who made it happen, eliminating Revenant XSpark in the very first game. Until now, Revenant XSpark couldn't even land one elimination and they get nothing so far. What a lobby this is happening to be here in Nextera. The very first game of the main event being completely undenying for everybody.
Free Fire Max Asia Invitational Spring, definitely not disappointing. GG Instinct, 2-player down on the floor. Patlu picked right back up. Swaroop, is he going to get that back up? Yes, he can in the next 1 second. Expand on the other hand, repositioning with the monster truck, bumping into the whole squad of GG Instinct. Great defensive plot here by the glue walls, pulled right back up here. Horaa getting a double for themselves, although Autobotz as well as Godlike. Autobotz eliminated as the final player, could not find those revivals. Zeon going in with the split blitz, tags up Swaroop as well, and here comes that second round. Valiant Dash breaks down the defenses, and GG Instinct just with Patlu make that Nolu 14 eliminations turn into an Alu in that situation. They ate him up.
What a pull and retreat strategy coming through from Expand. But right now, so Team 2XD, they also have to be worried. Titanic right above them. A little and a lot of trouble coming in towards Team XD. And out of the 4 teams right as now that we have, 3 are the Southeast Asian squads. And only in this mix is Team 2XD, a squad from the South Asia plains who are very consistent in picking up points. And we already spoke about they need to have an opportunity and start getting the booyahs. The advantage right now Team 2XD have are in numbers. But Pooh, he's trying his best, even though with his last survivor player per 2 last players, their glue walls continuously destroyed. They are unable to keep this on going and the position is not at all safe for them.
And now Horaa takes the Expand attention away, gives them the point. Expand is on a roll, 15 eliminations strong. Now focusing on the Horaa players, allowing Titanic to find a little bit of recovery. Horaa right down below. Here comes the glue wall melters out of Titanic as well, trying to break down the defenses of Team 2XD. Expand flanking around the left-hand side to meet Team 2XD. Smart positioning by the Malaysian squad as those glue wall melters now get laid out, forcing Team 2XD to go towards the very edge of the circle, splitting off into a 2-2. As Horaa takes out the final players of Titanic, that's the end for the Thai squad in this lobby. The battle between Malaysia, Nepal and Bangladesh for the first booyah of the day.
And Expand look like they have the biggest advantage as they're moving in. They have had the circle control, but Team 2XD, they've been smart, playing around the edges of the compound and have made their way in as well. Expand holding the compound outside. They do not want to let the same access that Team 2XD got. They want to deny Horaa completely. This challenge right as now is a 4v3 and Horaa, they're the ones who are on the disadvantage because they just have 3 players. Damage being done, Savage makes a run along with his teammates and somehow make it to the vending machine as well. And now this is an opportunity for them to make sure they go for a fight with the Nero plushie, and the Expand moving in could be big trouble for Horaa.
Oh, smart play by Expand here, just waiting for the active skills just to be refreshed. Finds Parsi, forcing Savage and stops to back right off. 4 players strong. Expand looking for that booyah. Now bumping into Team 2XD, but they do not have their active skills online. This will have to be a little bit of a problem, and a smart, brilliant rotation round from Expand to avoid encounter with Team 2XD. They need a little bit more time. In the next 5 seconds, that Valiant Dash should be on activation once again as they rotate in straight towards Horaa. Team 2XD try to close them off from the opposite side. Horaa gets stopped. Psycho with the AC-80 drop. Stop, dead in his tracks. Don't Cry picks up the next one, and Team 2XD picks up the 2 points off of the Nepali squad, and it's a fair 4v4 fight for the booyah here.
One final battle, Team 2XD versus Expand, and Expand finds the opening. Zeon gets Fahim. That should be a big problem here for Team 2XD. They have the complete control at the edges of the compounds, and the players of Team 2XD are stuck inside. And the moment Expand decide to jump in with their abilities active is going to be trouble. And there it is, the Valiant Dash finds another opening. Yana's also in trouble. He'll also be confirmed. The only one surviving, Don't Cry, the sniper. Position reveal. This glue wall for long is not going to make it work. The player from back friend in all directions. Expand control this very first game, get their booyah, and what a way to show off from the very first game for the Southeast Asian team.
Holy mama! Malaysia woke up in the first game. Expand absolutely rocked this lobby. They didn't chicken their way around the circle. They did not try to hide away from these encounters. A brilliantly set up battle after battle. They commanded so much of respect out there on the battlefield, where even Titanic was trying to just lay low, avoid their shots, because they were hitting everything that moved out there on the battlefield. And I would have to say, the winning condition for them was definitely the active skills, and they played their timing right. Team 2XD, on the other hand, just fresh after using up all of the active skills to take the elimination onto Horaa, which was pretty much unnecessary for those active skills to be activated. Just stood no chance to respond in terms of a little bit of extra bonus, but down to the mechanical skills, they were just split up on that final compound, and Expand just had their way with them. Powered up with the electrotherapy, the Valiant Dash was still active on their side if they needed it. Team 2XD stood no chance in that final battle.
And time again, you were always talking about these abilities to refresh that, put it out of the cooldown, and that was only Expand concentrating on it every time. Even when they were indulging in a battle with Horaa Esports, they did not rush right into it. They found the very first, they waited for the opportunity, the zone was closing, so they decided to tread around the edges of the compound, because they knew if they tried to go back in, there was already Team 2XT waiting for an opportunity, and if that became trouble with them having their abilities up, this is gonna be not their booyah, but Expand make sure it is theirs, and a very strong one. Total 20 eliminations. They get a 12 placement point because of the booyah, and a start at a 30 bomber. 32 total points for Expand.
Yeah, solid run for Expand, but big respect to both Horaa from Nepal as well as Titanic Esports from Thailand as well. Although they don't get the second spot in terms of placement, they jump over Team 2XD, who was not very heavy on the eliminations. Horaa, on the other hand, 14 eliminations strong in this lobby. A great game for both the only Nepal squad that we've got in here in the run. So I want to see more out of Horaa Esports. Titanic Esports, on the other hand, just a little bit too early of an exit. They were 4-man strong, but the place where they chose to have their final stand on was just way too open. They had to use so many of those resources, and Expand just had to be the squad that spotted them out. Team 2XD took shots at them as well. Horaa took shots at them as well. It was not easy for Titanic to remain surviving. But down at the bottom, this is so unexpected. Revenant XSpark, Team Hind, early elimination out of this lobby.
And both of them have 3 total points. 3 1 on elimination and 3 was placement points. But with that, let's jump into the MVP. And when we come into the MVP, we end up seeing Zion coming into play. And he has DJ Alok as his main character active skill. This is what we spoke about. One unique active skill, bringing in a lot of new combinations for us to understand, which makes them a lot more viable for not just themselves but the team as a whole, and bringing in Alok makes his survivability even further. And with the Arvon already, and Olivia, Joseph and Nikita being the passive characters, brilliant stuff as a rusher with 5 eliminations, 10 assists AJ, and a damage of 5,300. This man was out of his mind in the very first game itself.
Absolutely, man. The Alok was a smart move, but the Alok combination with Olivia, that's just top tier. Just giving him a little bit of extra viability on that recovery. Obviously, a great counter to this could have been that A124, but I didn't really see many of those players or the other squads rocking that A124. The thrill of battle just was not spotted out there. And this Alok could definitely dance around quite a little bit. Had the Car 98, and one of the things about Expand was almost all of their players were running those long-range weapons, either the marksman or the snipers, which is great for the current meta. You look at Waltz, and he brings in the Rocky as his pet as well, giving him more viability, and that's why the cooldown on his Valiant Dash was refreshing so fast. They didn't have to be out of the battle too long before they hopped right back in, and they had the Morse as well as Cassie. I don't think the Morse was very much used in this game by Luki, but that Cassie, that electrotherapy definitely was powering up Waltz in the right way. Zion as the rusher as well was just keeping the squad up on their feet. The team boosters worked out well in the team's favor, and Luki, although the Morse was not used much, the sniping skills was definitely abused. 8 eliminations and 11 knockdowns for the guy.
We kept seeing his name in the feed as well. It was popping up. He troubled everybody, even Lakar EWG. That was one specific thing that we even captured while we were talking about it. From a distance, we already spoke. They were towards the north, and this team was towards the southern edge of the circle. really brilliantly played. And on top of this, you have to give it to Afik as well. 2 eliminations, 4 knockouts, helping out Zion and Vals. I think brilliant stuff. 3 rushers and a mix in 1 sniper. This is a combination as deadly as it could come. Let's take a look at the circle analysis as we move with Expand getting their booyah. How it all started. They already got 8 eliminations in the very first one. And from there, they kept moving towards Museum. And luckily, Museum was the last place where the circle also ended. So from Farmtopia and around, they moved towards Museum, and that is their home ground, as I would say. They held their position and completely got a booyah for themselves. Defended it from every other team, but never left the Museum. They became an artifact at the end of the day for this very first game of a booyah.
Absolutely, man. I think Expand was definitely blessed by the circle for sure, but they managed their gameplay really well, right? They didn't have to move around outside in the open, and I think that was one of the weak points of Expand that we've managed to spot throughout many other competitions where they've been a part of. But with them not having to travel a lot out in the open, gave them that perfect advantage throughout this whole game, and they picked up those solid numbers, right? 8 eliminations within the very first circle in itself, and of course 3 eliminations towards the very end as they bumped into Team 2 XD as well as Horaa. Horaa was having a decent enough run, I would say. 14 eliminations for the Nepali squad is absolutely brilliant. I was not expecting them to have such an explosive start, but good on them. And now we have completed game number 1. The biggest question is going to be who can maintain that consistency, because a couple of squads that got eliminated early, Team Hind, Revenant XSpark, will definitely be looking for those bigger numbers this time round.
Yeah, I think a lot of these teams will try for bigger numbers, and we could get maybe a glimpse of it based on the preferred drop spots. And looking at the preferred drop spots, we end up seeing Brasilia having a clash between Team Hind and Titanic. Unfortunately, Titanic, their game number 1 did not go in the direction they wanted, did not have the numbers, but right now they would have another opportunity to re-avenge themselves. Fields also having an opportunity for a battle between Horaa as well as Expand. Another battle that we saw towards the end could start up in the very first one, but the biggest of troubles that I end up seeing is at Mount Villa. And the main reason that I'm worried is why GG Instinct is at Mount Villa, and anytime we have seen them there, they've always commanded this part of Purgatory as their own. They've challenged every team in the Indian circuit and denied everybody the position of Mount Villa. So Lakar EWG and Revenant XSpark, they're out for trouble if they don't play out against GG Instinct well.
Yeah, and after what happened to Revenant XSpark earlier on, man, if you're looking at this screen, you should fly far, far away. Maybe Mode House. Nobody goes to Mode House. Maybe Mode House. Because you want to avoid a lot of the heat early game. I feel like Revenant XSpark, a great team for sure. You looked at, the stats they picked up out of our South Asia play-ins, a really solid squad, especially on the opening day. But they were not allowed to play at all. Constantly on that recovery, constantly on those revives. They were not given much of a chance to really pick up their momentum. Fingers crossed in this game number 2, Purgatory. First of all, the flight path needs to be very favorable to all of the squads. Secondly, the teams that did not pick up much points, like Revenant XSpark as well as Team Hind, they need to avoid these hot drops as much as possible. And Team Hind usually, of course, we have seen them move into Brasilia quite a little bit, but that's the hot spot, man. I mean, in a lobby where you're very used to your opponents, maybe, but in this very strange lobby with all of these other regions, maybe you want to play it a little safe.
And especially that you don't have a lot of games to play around, not a lot of days to play around. So you better hope that you've played your cards right to make sure that you make a booyah happen for yourself. But that's the same thing that we'll also be thinking about playing our predictions, right? We still have the same very first name as Titanic. We still have the same regions once more. And I think we are going 3 out of 3 for the regions, AJ. We are at least in that telepathically inclined. But nonetheless, I really like that you've gone in for Revenant XSpark, and again you keep that belief alive. Unfortunate, a miss of a game in the very first one, but I believe it's going to be Autobotz. They kind of had an off start towards when we saw it Mudside, but from there somehow recovered and did pick up elimination. So I feel like Autobotz might have an advantage moving towards our next game. That's going to be Purgatory. Along with them, I think Horaa is going to be in pick that you can blindly now move towards of how well they played. If they had numbers, if they had the circle, just like how Expand had, maybe Horaa could have also had their booyah.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from in terms of the Autobotz prediction, because although they did get eliminated with just 4 placement points, they were very strong on the engagements. Autobotz was picking up those solid points, except that when they tried to make their play for, I think, the final third circle, the position that they held onto in terms of a defensive spot was just unfortunate, right? Because the way the rest of the squad stacked up around them, that became a little overwhelming. Autobotz had no vending machines around them. And I think this is one of the biggest lessons that they can learn. Yes, you want to be rotating. Yes, you want to be finding a decent spot to hide away at. But you got to make sure you're close enough to a vending machine to play that recovery. Unfortunately, they had no means of recovery. And although they had decent numbers of eliminations, an early exit means that they don't get to dominate the top three. A recovery is very much possible for them. I think Horaa is going to continue, proving themselves out there as the only Nepali squad in here. They are on a fantastic run. Top three within the first game in itself. Close enough to the booyah, but not there just yet.
One thing at least we can take away from game number 1 here in the main event, AJ, is none of the teams were dominating. We cannot call them that this game was an outright their game. Yes, Expand got their booyah, thankfully because of the circle. We did not see them going in for a lot of engagement. So
That's true.
That course, I feel like there is still an opportunity for some of these teams to take up that opportunity, take up this ladder, or maybe even the throne and tell that we right now rule the FFMAI 2026 spring, at least in the main event, which kind of was done from Revenant XSpark on day 1. Unbelievable run. I hope there is another team that is coming in that direction, or as you already made the prediction, it is Revenant XSpark already themselves brewing for a booyah in their direction.
So what you're saying is, Expand, let me see you rotating around the battlefield first and doing the exact same thing. I kind of agree with you. I think it's very difficult to manage two things at the same time, right? Your rotation, looking around you, trying to make sure you're not spotted out. It's not as easy as it is in some of the other lobbies. This lobby is just absolutely savage. You get caught out in the open just in that 1 second. In the sniper meta, you are not going to be surviving for a long time at all. And of course, fingers crossed, this Purgatory is going to be serving them up many more of those points. Who's going to get caught out in those rotations? Who's going to get lucky enough to have the circle favoring them? We'll have to wait and see as the match is on standby to kick off. I think a lot of squads we've talked about. One team that we have barely touched on is Godlike Esports. The team that is very popular with the fans, but not very popular out here within this lobby in terms of the numbers that they picked up within that first match.
I think along with Godlike, right, their initial approach when they were at a fight and it did not work out, started moving in the other direction. It did eventually work out at Mudside. They were able to put down players from Pandora Stars, and that was the next team I was about to talk. Pandora have 9 eliminations in their name, but only 1 placement point. That is not the start that you would have wanted. So many eliminations could have been an inclination towards a lot more in terms of placement points, but unfortunate in the position they were in, they got caught out, and the circle especially of how it made shifts. It was very tough for teams to play, especially teams who were completely towards the southern edges of the map. And thankfully, Expand were not at that direction. So we end up seeing maybe Pandora making a change. Along with Pandora, another team that I would want to talk about is Lakar EWG. Really good position. From that position itself, they were annoying so many teams. But when it came to making a move, they were not ready, and GG Instinct made a move and instantly wiped out Lakar EWG. So what happens now moving into Purgatory? We have to wait and watch.
Yeah, we definitely have to wait and watch. It was a tad bit unfortunate, and that was an explosive game, Lucifer. 101 eliminations in that match. I mean, everybody was just finding stray bullets flying all around the battlefield. It was crazy. Every single squad got some sort of elimination points to their side, except Revenant XSpark. I mean, can you believe it? After an explosive day 1 at the South Asia Play-ins, they walk into game number 1 here on our main event, not picking up a single elimination. That definitely has to sting. And Revenant XSpark, hopefully that is their wake-up call, right? Because this is one of the favorite squads out of India to perhaps just win the whole thing at the end of the day, looking at how brilliantly they played. Because luck hasn't really been on their side. I think you have pointed this out as well. At play-ins, they had the maximum number of points to head on in, and they could not become champions. I mean, day 2 on the grand finals day, they really couldn't make that cut. And I think it would have definitely hurt a lot for them. So maybe the hurt coming through a little bit early in this main event is good for Team Revenant XSpark.
And I second that choice. I think teams need to understand that if they're going to be getting hit upon, if they're going to make misses, if unfortunately they end up fumbling, it's an opportunity to correct the mistakes very early on. Prepare yourself for the grand finals. So Revenant XSpark not having a great start, as you already even mentioned, 12 games in total. If you end up messing up your very first game, there's still 11 games. but you cannot keep just counting the games and not counting your own eliminations and placement points. That is going to be crucial to get yourselves to the top 8 out of the 18 teams. You have to be in the top 8 to make sure that nobody pushes you out of the top 12. Somehow of how teams managed to qualify. They were in top 1, but right now moving towards purgatory. They are at the bottom. Now time to rise up in this ground. Make sure that they can find an opportunity like everybody else is. But the Southeast Asian teams have started with the Booyah. Who is going to get the second one?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's see if or not Expand can go back to back here. Maybe this is that awakening for the squad. Been a couple of years since they have been in the main conversation. Every time they've been in the main conversation the past couple of years is how they have not been able to keep up with their past glory. This is a phenomenal start for the team. 32 points within the first matchup in itself, as we see them heading straight out towards Fields and Ski Lodge. And a couple of hot drops perhaps at Brasilia is what we are not going to see, as Team Hind is actually making their way down instead.
GG Instinct on the other end with Extreme X. This is what we already spoke about, a battle that could brew up. GG Instinct. Seems like they've moved in the other direction while we thought it is going to be a battle towards Mount Villa itself. But now at least they've surrounded Extreme X, and Extreme X in game number 1 comparison, AJ, had a really good start against Revenant XSpark, challenged them at Intellect Center, ended up getting 4 eliminations, but that also ended up being their very first loss, as we did see that they went down to expand themselves and an opening is found. Nero's plushie, Cryomine being used to force off Swaroop from his position as they try to rush towards him, but it seems like Extreme X are walking right towards GG Instinct's play.
See how will GG Instinct play with this one, because Rusty has got a great spot onto Swaroop. He's forcing his life down just a tad bit here before they push on out. Ice Grenade is going to hit Patlu. And the team of GG Instinct is just spread wide out here. I don't think this is a great idea. Extreme X on the other hand sticking together. Great play. And Sejan just circles around, pulls out the Winchester as well. He hits a double for himself. Early game. Sejan's on fire as the elimination leaders.
What a start once again coming in here from Extreme X, and Tiger will be forced to bring back one of his players. He doesn't even get to use the super revival. He just uses the normal one to get the player back up, and that's going to be with a mini Uzi. Tiger, thankfully he was away, and this is the position that we kind of thought they will be at, the fight brewing at Mount Villa. But right now a fight for Team 2XD, surrounded in all directions by Horaa Esports. Psycho is the very first one to go down. Giannis is also spotted. Confirmation on Psycho. Giannis wanted to protect him, but it's not going to be happening, as he also gets taken down. A nice shot coming in from Buru, and that is the 3 players from Team 2XD getting an early wipe, and the face brunt coming in from Horaa Esports, avenging for the elimination previously.
Yeah, Horaa's on fire this time round. Open grounds battle, and they took that one like champs. Let's see if they can get a full squad elimination, but it is Titanic that drops Lakar EWG early. Lakar EWG, rough game 1. Great eliminations, but could not find those placement points. Only 10 points within game number 1, but in this game 2, not picking up a single point here for themselves. Horaa will find another player, this time from Team 2XD. 4 eliminations strong. Godlike on the other hand, bumping into Team Extreme X as they rotate around. Nancy and Marco both catching the boys on the side of Sejan with that backstab. Rusty and Tusin now trying to go right back in here for play, but Marco barricades himself, but a final glue wall not pulled up. And Godlike still thinks this is a rehearsal match. They exit early.
This cannot keep repeating for Godlike. Now, we did speak about how they made their way through in Group B, Day 2. Somehow, the amount of points they accumulated, they managed to qualify. But if it continues here in the main event, there's a lot more challenges that they would have to face.
But can we talk about how good Extreme X is, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, this squad from Bangladesh is so impressive. Just scraping through, making it through from the South Asia Plains, and now on a brilliant run. I mean, God bless this squad. I am expecting more from them, because it was all for Godlike to go in there for the rush. They made the call to push Extreme X, but they got capped instead.
This is Extreme X doing it twice now. having such a good start. Denied Revenant XSpark in the very first one, and now Godlike as well as GG Instinct. What a battle to be brewing. And I really like in the aggression that they are moving. But right as now, as we did speak about Revenant XSpark and GG Instinct, a battle brews out in Quarry itself in between themselves. Tiger, he does take up a little bit of damage. Thought he could make a run while he's sitting inside the pickup truck, and Gopu OP says that's not going to be happening as Revenant XSpark pick up his elimination.
Beautiful play this time around. Swaroop, brother. What? Tried to valiant dash out of this one. He tried to get to the vehicle and drive away, but just could not get into the vehicle in time. Revenant XSpark picks up yet another easy one and pulls out a hit list onto Shodo from Team Hind. I don't know if they know exactly who they're going to be hunting down. This is not the kind of squad Revenant XSpark wants to go after so early game, because Team Hind is looking for the recovery match. And Revenant XSpark might just be expanded early in this fight if they try to hunt them down.
Revenant XSpark, in terms of picking up eliminations, at least have had a strong start this time. 4 eliminations in total with that hit list, as you mentioned. In case they would want to go for a fight, they can, but shouldn't be the case. That should just give them an information ping of where the player is and maybe the squad as a whole. And that is the reason we're seeing them move in the other direction towards Marble Works, and from there maybe hopefully outside at Crossroads. But right there in that direction, a team that's made their way is going to be Extreme X, who are moving in the direction towards Expand and Titanic Esport. That could be a battle brewing there, because there's also the Bolt Maker call.
Question is Expand active or not? The players are spotted out here. It's Extreme X gets into a little bit of a battle up against Titanic and Expand at the same time. Expand is out in the open. This is danger zone. Both squads have called for the lightning zone. Expand as well as Titanic. How insane is that? Both teams trying to tease each other in these open grounds. And Horaa's on the way to this battle as well as the third party. Expand takes Titanic out of the equation. This Malaysian squad is on a different level right now.
I'm sorry I questioned them earlier that you would have to rotate and engage and go in for battles and Expand. I'm making sure that they prove a point to me. Brilliant stuff. However, they do have 2 casualties that they would have to figure out, and they will be able to get their players back up. Enough money on walls. We did even see Zion as well. So quickly running towards the vending machine even after having this fight. But the better thing to come out of the fight was a complete squad wipe that they managed to do. That is the positive that they're looking forward to. However, not the same case for GG Instinct. All they've been doing is running away from teams and reviving just individuals from their team.
Yeah, I mean, Swaroop out of the equation, but they didn't want to bring him right back in just yet. Revenant XSpark driving straight towards the Expand player Zion, who's all alone here, interestingly enough, as Waltz brings the 2 players right back. Zion split away from Waltz earlier on just to play the game of survival. Expand definitely just hanging on for their dear lives at this point of time. Zion's going to be found, wins an easy shot up close and personal with that VSK, takes him out of the equation, forcing the Expand players to spend a little bit more money to bring back yet another.
That was nice timing on the UAV. Zion thought he's going to be safe, but that UAV coming out from Revenant XSpark ended up revealing his position and had to go from there. However, Revenant XSpark now had another opportunity. They've spotted Horaa Esports, and Revenant XSpark are on the verge of recovery compared to what happened in game number 1. Really good compound to hold as well. They're inside the circle. We spoke about it. Traverse through the crossroads and make it in, and that's what they've done for the time being. On the other end, Team 2XT, they're also trying to recover as they've picked up their very first elimination, as we did see. But can they pick up a lot more as we go towards the next few circles? But right now, in the inclination to pick up the drop as well as a player, it's Extreme X with 9 total eliminations. They spot a player driving by, and that's going to be from Expand.
Extreme X is definitely getting extreme now with those points. Beautiful recovery after game 1, but they got taken out way too early with only 4 points, 4 eliminations in hand. But this time, they're looking to change where they sit on the leaderboard in a very big way. But out in open grounds, though, I don't think this is the best position for Extreme X to hold on to, but they are going to be lucky for the time being. No other squads close enough to tease them. And they're all aiming for that airdrop for sure. Question is this a trap? Because Horaa's heading straight on in. Pandora spots them. And this is going to be a big fight for the Nepalese players.
Instantly Riptide Rhythm to push off Putra, and he is backing off, rightfully so. But Horaa also do not engage. They do not climb up the hill. Last time these nades flew out, we ended up seeing a squad being wiped out and Autobots were in the brunt front of the foes receiving it. And this time, Horaa do not decide to engage. Rather go back to the trailers and end up holding off. They want Pandora to make a mistake. So Pandora right now will have the drop and no challenges as Horaa back off.
Good play here by Pandora. I think isn't just too much there for them to really fight for. Revenant XSpark up against Extreme X. They back away. I see 3 players. Do we see 4? Lightning Zone called upon the squad, most probably by Extreme X, looking at how they are very aggressive. Vincent's out of there. Divine needs to follow suit as well. Grenade. Great glue wall barricade here by Extreme X just to keep themselves safe from that grenade. As they now try to take Divine down, the time turner has been called forth. The jump pad can be used, but Divine buying a lot of time for himself as Revenant XSpark gives him the information that Team Hind might just be there as well. And Revenant XSpark rotates still within the next circle. They've got a great defensive spot here. They set the UAV out as well as they head for the vending machine to bring their buddy back.
However, Team Hind have spotted Katie. God, big damage, and Vincent will be confirmed. What a shot coming in. And that is going to be a confirmation. However, they were quick to make a run, but do not have... They have money. They can get the player back up as well. But for the time being, it's going to be only Vincent. They will wait for some time. However, the challenge is not going to wait as Team Hind. They're going to ride towards Revenant XSpark. They take a monster truck, make a run for it. So for the time being, when earlier the hit list was called and there was no chase, this time Team Hind decide they want to do the chase, AJ.
I don't know if not they can take that risk though. Team Hind definitely needs a lot of points here. Autobots up against GG Instincts. Instinctively backing away Swaroop. Just got brought back in. Did not have the right gun on him. And Autobots were ready for that battle. Unfortunate for GG Instinct on that recovery from those revives. Just could not loot up and prepare for this battle that Autobots were definitely well prepped for.
9 total eliminations that Autobots have right now gotten in this game so far. And Horaa on the other end, they have 7 eliminations and they're still holding off. This time they're at the edge of the circle. And same place where Autobots could maybe drop by. One of the players from Autobots who just got revived is right now hovering in that direction. On the other end, Revenant XSpark, they managed to get their players who are also making a drop. But look at that! In the sky itself, KD God, and the trouble from Team Hind towards Revenant XSpark doesn't stop at all.
Yeah, Kunal goes down as well, like shooting ducks out of the sky. Easy shots, easy points for these squads. Now Team 2XD setting one up for themselves up against Horaa. Glue wall melt is going to be laid out first just so that they can find the access into these trailers. Team 2XD do spread out here in the open ground, so they have to be careful of a third-party fight depending on his time turner. And look at the refresh on that time turner. He's going to be able to use that in a little bit. Horaa now moving forth in here for the annihilation. Stops and Sparcy just flanking around that right-hand side. Team 2 actually using the boulder and their own glue wall. Valiant dashes through. Psycho with the psychotic play. Gets that with the M590. Leaving Voodoo all alone right back here for the side of Horaa. Psycho picked right back up. Yena's now on the hunt. 3v1. Voodoo in the car, and off he goes. Car's on fire. Does he survive? The snipers get brought out, and don't cry with the car 98. Put the final end to the play on the side of Horaa.
What a play coming here from Team 2XD, and this is what we could have seen them doing in the very first game for their own booyah. This is why we talk about the abilities being ready for a battle, and if they are, this is what you can explode as. And Team 2XD, for an unwondering team of Horaa, they get expanded, forced out, and they get pushed off from Purgatory itself. What a play coming in from Team 2XD to win that fight out. But right now another fight is for Team Hind. They won against Expand, eliminated them, now making a jump towards Pandora, and now Pandora are forced towards an Arsenal. They make a jump right where Team 2XD won out right now, but Autobots' last player was inside it. He gets eliminated, and that's going to be an end for Autobots.
Oh, Team Hind, the recovery play this time round. 5 eliminations in hand, but their glue wall's getting broken down. Good barricade glue wall though by Team Hind. Sahil Jat backing away, just using the terrain to their advantage here. going for that lower ground option as they understand that Pandora has already taken over that arsenal. They're going to be barricading themselves in there. Shots from the back. Extreme X loses Sejan, but no elimination just yet. That recovery is very much possible for Extreme X, but the flurry of shots coming down. Once again, Psycho at his best. Team 2XD raining those bullets down on the Extreme X players, but recovery is solid with those glue walls.
Flicker, he's always been a man who stands tall with his sniper. And he troubled Team 2XT, made sure that they cannot keep shooting down the players of Extreme X. And now Extreme X, not just one trouble coming in from Extreme X, but they have to be worried about another team. And there it is, a knock again from Flicker and Tucson as well. Two of the players get eliminated from Team 2XT. It could become a big opportunity here for Extreme X to climb up the hill. And if they're able to do it, it is going to be trouble for Team 2XT. And it is happening. Sajan also gets one. It's all down to the last player, Psycho. He has an opportunity of reviving a player, but Extreme X, they just cannot climb up because the circles made a shift and the player and the team that could be opposing them is right in front. But Psycho, even though he's the last player, for all the annoying menace that was done to Extreme X, Psycho still tries his best to battle with them. But that Riptide rhythm that troubled Extreme X could be a problem, as that's coming in from Team Hind. Two of the players are down, and this could be an end for Extreme X as well, as Sajan, he is the last one standing.
Yeah, Shoto just ripping them apart with the souped up hammer on the cord. You got the LMG in hand. Woven just roaming around the battlefield. Finally, Team Hind jumping into action. Pandora buying a lot of time inside that arsenal. Finally has to be pushed out by the circle. Shoto taking that high ground. Valiant dashes around those glue walls for nothing. As Kisan gets dropped by Woven, picking up the double. Putra's going to be found as well. Shoto going in for the M590. Woven follows up, and Hind walks away with a booyah for game 2.
What a game coming in from Shoto in that battle. That game itself turned around. For right now, if I imagine, the very first hit list that we ended up seeing was on Shoto. And now he's the man towards the final battle that we ended up seeing, getting a booyah. And this is game number 2. And the champs have walked in. They've proven themselves why they're the recent title holders of the Indian circuit and now want to conquer Asia. Really great game coming in from these lads, and the timing for them to challenge even at Extreme X was just brilliant, because Extreme X had nowhere to run up the hill. They had to move forward, and they had the abilities because Extreme X had used them to fight with Team 2XT, and that Riptide rhythm just blew apart the opportunity for Extreme X to do anything.
2 updates ago, when the enhanced hammer was brought into play, nobody wanted it like the super leg pockets. But now everybody is rushing to soup up all of their weapons. The enhanced hammer is fairly cheap now, just 400 coins for that bump up. And you saw exactly what they were focusing on. They were focusing on the M249. They were focusing on the cord. They got the enhanced hammer to bump it up because they knew that the final circle was going to be very messy. Team Hind absolutely avoided as many of those engagements as possible. They wanted to focus on their looting game. They wanted to focus on picking up as many free fire coins as possible to make sure the team was battle ready on that final circle. And they guaranteed the booyah for themselves. A very dangerous squad out of India when we look at the grand finals probability of them just running away with it. But although they do take the booyah, Extreme X remains extreme right up at the top with 23 points, beating them by 1 thanks to the eliminations.
And this is the reason that we kind of thought Extreme X, after how they were holding themselves against Team 2XT and were moving towards that circle on the higher ground. But as soon as the circle shifted, they decided they wanted to walk ahead, and their Team Hind had the upper hand and the advantage. But still, Extreme X, really good game coming in from there, and 15 total eliminations that they had. And Pandora, a little fallen short here. They have a total of 8 eliminations, 9 placement for being at the 2nd spot, and this is a total of 17 points. Pandora made it till the top 3, but unfortunately, they couldn't keep themselves afloat. The circle was closing in that direction, but the teams at the bottom, Lakar EWG, still are gonna be suffering, even in today's standings, with a mix of our game number 1 and game number 2 total points. They are at a total of just 10 points, and falling in that direction with 13 only points is Godlike. This has to be a wake-up call now that they've seen the standings.
Some salt in the wounds of Expand, although they did manage to take Titanic out on the overall leaderboard for that match. Titanic still ended up over them in terms of elimination points. So unfortunate for Expand. The Booyakas is real. A massive game won. But when they had to rotate, I think we called it out fairly well. The team just could not sustain as long, but thankfully they had a explosive game one that just keeps them on that number one spot. But the consistency is absolutely brilliant for Nepal. Horaa Esports climbing up to that second spot, 34 points now, just 5 points behind Expand. We see that recovery coming through from some of the squads, but Godlike Esports, man, they bombed out unfortunately in this game. I'm not too sure exactly what's going on just yet, but if history calls us out right, Godlike Esports doesn't really need to ramp up so early. They always find a way to squeeze themselves in to the grand finals.
Well, right now, squeezing another MVP in his name. This man was the Grand Finals MVP, and right now, even in our main event, game number 2 is going to be Wolven. 4 total eliminations, 1,328 in terms of damage, 3 assists, playing with a time turner as his active skill with Joseph, Nikita, and also having a Thiva in the mix. So making sure that while there is also viability and survivability, in case his teammates have a little bit of a niffy situation where they get knocked, the Thiva is going to be right in play for a revive. But on top of it, he has the machine gun M249, which you were already talking about, while they were sending off pellets after pellets against their enemies.
So this guy was the mastermind of this victory because of that enhanced hammer. This same enhanced hammer enhanced Shoto's cord. The same enhanced hammer enhanced his own M249 as well. Just making those machine guns just a little bit too overpowered in that final circle. You got to respect what he did out there. A true support with the enhanced hammer plus that Chrono and Thiva. You mentioned it. Easy pickups with that backup. But overall, rocking the Skylar, Nero, Oscar, Chrono shows us that this is a squad that is very well balanced because they can get it done long range with that Skylar, breaking down those defenses. We saw KD got in a couple of his shots coming on through. They can get it done close range combat as well with Sahil Jad as well as Shoto with that Valiant Dash as well as that Cryo Mine that just absolutely disrupts the gameplay of those opponents. But Team Hind ramped up very slowly. They were not focusing on big points. And I think this squad definitely has the right idea in terms of becoming champions because it's no longer about who can collect the most number of points on the leaderboard. It's all about who can guarantee themselves that booyah, and preparing themselves for that final battle clearly paid off for the squad.
Yeah, and I think this is what Team Hind also showed us when they were playing in the LAN finals, that they know how to go towards a booyah. Initially, they need a little bit of a push. They needed to figure out what works, and that's what happened. Once game number 1, they had to figure out what they had to do, and as soon as game number 2, they had an idea. You see what they just unfolded right as now. Started from around our central, moved towards Gold Force. That's where they ended up seeing a lot of shots being taken. Moved towards Quarry as well, forced Revenant XSpark, and look at them just moving all around the map. And afterwards, once they made their move from central towards the golf course, they held that position for some time, figuring that the circle is going to be moving in this direction itself. But once it did jump up towards the mainland of Purgatory, they also made a jump, and right at the banks of the river body, they held their position, and from there on were able to strike everybody. Look at them in the circle 1 and 2. They did search for fights, AJ, did not get any, and in circle 3 is when they made a jump and started getting their eliminations, and that is the reason they couldn't be at the top of the charts in the game standings. However, they end up finding a very, very strong game for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, I think this was a brilliant game for Team Hind. Whether or not they were looking for the engagements within the first 2 circles, they definitely found it within circle 3 and 4. And I feel like they were already battle ready by the time they bumped into the squads at that point of time, right? Just a couple of revivals that they needed to pull in, but it wasn't too much of an issue because I think it was a very well-plotted rotation coming through from Team Hind. And every single time that circle moved, you could just see them playing each and every single zone very much to the final seconds. They were one of the final teams to move into each and every single circle, just keeping on the very perimeters of those zones, trying to gatekeep the other squads as well. Just kind of confident that nobody's going to be behind them. But they have to be careful, though. The team boosters are absolutely notorious for keeping squads alive and kicking outside the circle. Team Hind escaped without being attacked this time around. But if they pulled it off too many times, they might not luck out. This is something that we have to keep our eyes on to see whether or not it works in each and every single game. Expand didn't manage to pull off the exact same strategy because the circle this time wasn't on their side.
While we talk about if there is going to be an opportunity this time at the maze in the preferred drop spots, they have an opportunity, but Extreme X, in all the battles that we've seen, AJ, they started off super duper strong. So in case it happens once again, it could be trouble for Expand. But on the other end, the team who just got the Booyah are going to be at Refinery. And so far in that battle, we end up seeing Godlike, who generally like Refinery for themselves, but it's not worked out even in our South Asia planes. Even the sub is being challenged by Horaa and Revenant XSpark. Well, Revenant XSpark had a tad bit of a better game compared to game number 1. It is still not them striding towards a Booyah. They're not yet there. We just see some of the battles working in their favor, some of it meaning only a couple of their players having an opportunity. And especially this is one thing that I've seen from Revenant XSpark's end, is if Vincent gets picked, their entire plan gets foiled. Their sniper goes out, it is done for. But what about our plans in terms of predictions, AJ?
Well, it seems like I still have got my name and my eyes on Horaa. I think this time they're going to be walking away with the Booyah. Team 2XD have been pretty consistent out there as well in terms of picking up points. And Revenant XSpark, man, I've been waiting for them to wake up. Maybe this is that game for us.
And I've gone in for Team Hind, Pandora as well as Extreme X. Now for me, Extreme X have been very consistent. I think their early game in terms of the eliminations they're able to grab, and especially they've now gotten as close as to a Booyah. Yes, similar to what Team 2XD are. And out of all the South Asian squads that made it to the main event, right, I think these two teams from Bangladesh have surprised us. The consistency coming in towards there and the way they've been making their way towards the top in the first 2 games and going towards game 3, very commendable. And we thought there's going to be a lot of teams having trouble as we move towards the main event itself. And these two squads, they're just looking at it as a challenge and they are rising through fire. It's working out for them. So I hope it is going to be them. And on top of it, I've brought in Pandora because I think over the course of time, while we did see the Southeast Asian teams, one or the other have been rising up towards the top 3, top 4. And I think Pandora making their way in the last game of Purgatory gives us an idea that maybe they are now cooking towards a Booyah for themselves. And Team Hind, I think, is going to be as plain and simple as I could pick up, is because they just got a Booyah and they've got a feel of the game for the time being.
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from, and especially Team Extreme X. I feel like the Bangladeshi squads have been on fire, and we still have not seen how Straw Hats play in the league just yet, right? A brilliant squad awaiting us, but that is the action you guys all get to tune into only tomorrow. I think Group C has got quite a number of title squads. You've got IQ Total Gaming in there. You've got NXT Esports, Hotshot Esports out of Pakistan. So a lot of explosive squads in there. Even Dewa United from Indonesia is in there as well. So I think if you want to pick up a lot of points, this is the day. You pick up all of the points today because Group C will look to ravage the lobby for sure whenever they are in here for the play. But of course, we are gearing up for game number 3 in a little bit, Lucifer.
And this happened even in our day 2, where a lot of points, especially for the teams made their way in, they ended up taking it away rather than the group who were already there. So yes, you have to pick up the points. And especially, AJ, as we are making our way towards game number 3, the game that is going to give us an idea if teams have all understood the lobby or not. Because if they don't balance themselves out now, they have lost 3 games for the day. It's going to be in Kalahari, a game once again helpful for all the snipers in action.
Oh yeah, it is the map if you really want to dominate with those snipers. But problem now is the hook gun is quite readily available for anybody that wants it, making those repositions to that high ground fairly easy for anybody that seeks it out. Autobot's going to be moving straight out towards Bayfront, and there's a very big possibility we see them bump into a couple of players out of Horaa as well, who probably will be right beside them. Down at the bottom, you see Team Extreme X from Bangladesh, possibly in a little bit of a pickle because Expand drops right beside them.
Expand, they try to find the opening, but Afiq, he gets knocked. On the other end, Extreme X, they've lost 3 of their players. Flicker, the only player and the only man with a sniper for the time being. But what can he do, Luki? He's already made his way close by, and the position gets revealed. The Morse comes in clutch, and it is going to be Extreme X, the very first squad to be eliminated. You can see how happy he was with the usage of Morse and how close he made it to the opponent, and the opponent didn't even realize what happened.
Yeah, even Luki was surprised. He's like, hey, what you doing here, man? The Morse coming in clutch. Titanic out so easy. And of course, it's Team Hind ramping it up little by little. And this is such an unexpected turn of events, both Titanic and Extreme X. And in fact, Titanic hasn't really been having the best of runs out there, but they're definitely no chump squad up against anybody. But Team Hind made easy work of them in the early encounter. GG Instinct up against Lakar EWG with a couple of players on the side of Horaa as well, probably dropping by Council Hall to check out what's happening in the situation. Patlu's really low, will get sprayed down by Stops and his P90, but Horaa needs to get Stops out of there ASAP.
Yeah, he's all alone at Council Hall. And Lakar EWG, at the time they decide to strike, it could be an opportunity for them. But Swaroop, stalling for the time being. It seems like Horaa, rather than getting him out, they're going to be all recouping right here at Council Hall. They're making a jump, and Swaroop is going to be in big trouble. He thought that maybe he could find an opportunity, but Stops. He will put him down with the AC-80, and also confirmation comes through. So GG Instinct, while they thought that they could have an opportunity, they're the ones who are getting swept across in the very first game. In this game, after 2 and 3, it is still the similar thing that's what GG Instinct is stuck at, that their games are not going in that direction. But one thing that I'm right now worried is, have the teams got a notification that Kalahari has started? Circle 1 and 2 teams are already out, and now GG Instinct is getting closer.
Oh, where Marco fighting the dust as well as they bumped into the Expand squad. Ice Grenade takes him out of the equation off screen. Horaa up against Lakar EWG. And this is not even the full squad of Horaa just yet. Fuzan, one big mistake. Whoa. And Stops will find him with the AC-80. Wanting to go in here for the finisher of that P90. But Stops, you cannot get aggressive just yet. That's a full squad down there. They recover the player instantaneously. And Lakar EWG right back up on their feet. It's very impressive what Horaa is able to do just with 2 players within the compound.
Horaa Esports. While we thought that maybe Stops is going to make his way out, they are all challenging anybody. It seems like they're going to be at the judgment seat, and there it is. Hamim to Budu goes down and Stops with the P90, challenges, gets one more, but finally an answer back coming in from Cyber, puts a stop to Stops, and that could give a little bit of an opportunity for Lakar EWG to recover themselves. And in that meantime, it seems like even Budu made his way out, and that is going to be the end for Council Hall's challenges that Horaa Esports were dwelling on.
Yeah, very impressive strategy out of Horaa here. Just claiming a little bit or earning a little bit of extra coins in that encounter. Looking for those elimination points as they had an insurance policy with the other 2 players outside of Council Hall. Ready on standby for those revivals. So no risk played there at all for Horaa Esports. It was just a win, or we just quickly reset our 2 players and continue looting up with the rest of them. So very smartly strategized in the early games. GG Instincts, on the other hand, they're going to lose one more to the side of Lakar EWG, and it looks like they're not giving up on this battle just yet. There's a possibility the 2 players that we see on the far edge here rotates around looking for those points.
I know GG Instincts are a little head heavy right now. They want to challenge them, and that's how their instinct is. That's how they've always been used to. They challenge every team out there and win those battles, and now, because it's not working out, they're still trying to find the winning recipe here. And that's not working out. They're putting themselves in an opportunity of deficit and giving opportunity for the opponents who are grabbing onto these eliminations. And there it is, the Valiant Dash coming out. An instant hammering from Hamim. However, Patlu ends up putting 2 of the players within just a second. Both Fuzan and a kid are down now. Power, he's getting challenged. Hamim wants to get closer. He has the Max 7. But these glue walls for the time being are stopping him.
Yeah, this is the end for EWG here. Lakar EWG made a very big mistake. They had no idea who they were picking on. And GG Instinct on that revival just had a great big advantage with that high ground. Now 1 final player on the side of Lakar EWG without a vending machine for that quick revival. It's going to get tagged up, and the Mag 7 could do nothing in that situation as Power rushed straight into him. Easy takedown, and GG Instinct picks up a total of 5 points in the early game, taking Lakar EWG out of the lobby as well.
A battle between the time turners and X Divine. He had to get away from it because Godlike was surrounding him right here at command post. And Gopu OP is also stuck. X Divine making a run in the other direction, but the shot doesn't get missed. Nancy wanted to challenge long back, but finally will get the confirmation as well. That's going to be 5 eliminations, and it seems like what should have happened at Refinery is happening and unfolding at command post. But just before this, AJ, I do want to touch upon what GG Instinct just ended up doing. I think that was just a trap that Lakar EWG walked right into. They thought they were the ones doing the damage, and out of the blue, the whole squad gets swept out. What a play. I just call them head heavy, and rightfully so, GG Instinct do it.
Yeah, just two players baiting them out from that lower ground. Lakar EWG, I didn't really see a lot of UAVs used in that situation. They had no eyes on their back. And GG Instinct just had that one revival right on time. So the timing played very well for GG Instinct as well. So two players at the back, two players baiting down at the front. And obviously those mechanical skills out of the GG Instinct players were super solid in that situation, getting them those points. And Lakar EWG just barely scraping through in the first 3 games. Horaa Esports, on the other hand, cannot get caught out in this situation as they move out of Hampton. Autobotz right behind them, and Autobotz themselves in their own fair share just want to avoid these early engagements. They're looking for those big points to climb the leaderboard.
Autobotz had a decent game in the previous Purgatory, picked up a lot of eliminations. Unfortunately, could not keep that going towards the end of the game. And right now, as they're trying to play safe and sound, they end up spotting Horaa Esports, and quick on that grab is Kunal. That'll instantly wake up the players from Horaa Esports. Stops, gets big time damaged, and that is kudos to Venom's positioning. Somehow Stops, gets inside the compounds, and Budo on the other direction is walking down the hill, making sure that he's moving the other direction, but still gets spotted. And Autobotz, they decided they want to challenge, and finally even Budo gets taken down.
Yeah, unfortunate for Horaa Esports. They just did not have eyes on their back there. They finally send out the UAV, but it's a tad bit too late. It just Stops all alone, probably remaining back as one sacrificial lamb for the side of Horaa Esports to buy some time. Yes, I did see one player use the jump pad to get away, looking for that revival onto the rest of his team members. Autobots, on the other hand, will just look for the domination at Shrines. Could not go back. A little bit of an overextension on that rotation, because they could have just camped at Shrines looking for a little bit of advantage with that vending machine, but that just wasn't the play there for Horaa. Godlike, on the other hand, up against GG Instinct. This is about to be a big fight with Revenant XSpark dropping by as well. A 3-way battle.
Revenant XSpark, they've not had the best in all the games that we've witnessed so far. They tried to just be on the recovery phase, and once again in the same direction. Player gets knocked, eliminated, quick on the revive. Horaa also do the same thing. And the player who made it here is already going to be out. Godlike on the other end now will again prep back towards a fight against GG Instinct. They know where they're stuck at. And Godlike are very familiar in these kind of compounds. They know mistakes are always done, and there it is. Yogi makes an approach with Marco. Marco on top of the roof, but unfortunately, he is not going to be safe on that position. He's out open for everybody, and that is going to be, I think, from a Hind player, shots being taken. And Blue Wall will protect him for the time being, but look at Marco's positioning. I really like it. And Nobita also, he's made an entry to the top floor, and this should give them access to fight with GG Instinct.
The best part here is Revenant XSpark's just nowhere to be seen. They've backed away already. Oh, Godlike. Beautiful shot off of Yogi. And now they're going to have to eat up that ice grenade. Great time to pull out on the inside. And GG Instinct. But Lou turning things around. And the beautiful play off that Valiant dash. Knocks 2 players down onto the ground. Tosses a grenade in as well. Marco barricades himself in with the glue wall. And Swaroop looking for the pickup. Gets one right back up onto his feet. Marco out in the open, but Swaroop choosing to not go in for that fight. Patlu too low. And they will give up on the opportunity to take Marco out of the equation, and they don't pay for it just yet after that glue wall laid out by Godlike.
I don't know how Godlike survived that fight. They got their players back up. GG Instinct gave them an opportunity. So it's still a 4v3 battle and a disadvantage for GG Instinct. Almost about to pull that in their favor. Glue wall's all going to be destroyed. And with a blink of an eye, Nancy, Yogi and Nobita together put an end to GG Instinct. That Riptide rhythm foiled all the plans. And what a play coming in from Godlike. I still don't understand. I'm unable to comprehend of how Godlike survived that fight. And now Revenant XSpark, looking at it, have a compound for themselves. We thought they left, but they actually came back.
A lucky double knock with the thrill of battle activation, and Godlike could not use their active skills for those few moments. And GG Instinct had the fight on their side, but they chose to back away and recover instead. A big mistake. And throughout the whole battle, Revenant XSpark just stayed out of it. They backed away initially from the compound. They didn't want to play the third party, and I think that is going to make them pay big time, because now Godlike has fully recovered from the battle. Their active skills should be online in a little bit as well. And this is going to be a tough battle for Revenant XSpark.
Revenant XSpark need a recovery, but it could be even a tough battle as Hind, the zone's closing, and Expand in positions where they're able to hold themselves off. They're always all good. This time, Expand, they know the positionings because they've spotted the players and they're inside the edge of the circle, whereas Team Hind, they have to make their way in. KD got stuck on top of the tower. It is not going to be easy for him to make a jump. His players are also at the edges of the play zone, and so far, Expand in this game have 6 eliminations. They did get the very first booyah in their name, but this time they're trying to brew something new if possible. Lucky has 3 eliminations in his name. Waltz is 0 so far, but Team Hind have found their opportunity and a roadway where they could make their jump, make their move in, and now they're jumping right to the faces of Expand for a battle to be taken right in front of them. And Luki is repositioning using the mods for the time being, but his position will eventually come under compromise as KD God, he steps in with the help of Shodo, and the opening's been found from Team Hind.
Waltz turns it around. Beautiful shot with the M590 as he takes Shodo out of the equation. Aggressing on forward, and Expand have got their player right back up on his feet. And they scan out the whole squad of Team Hind, but they do not know that Pandora is approaching from the back as well as the third-party squad. Expand might have an opportunity, but if they stay in their defensive compound, they can survive this battle as Pandora has got open shots up against Hind. KD God takes the shot up against Theo, and now it's a battle between Team Hind as well as Pandora Esports.
Expand had an opportunity. They will try their best, but that opening small gap did knock their player. Pandora, this is their chance to strike right in. But the compound that they have, they will want to keep a hold of it. They will want to keep a control of things.
Team 2XD right back in it, man. Triple on that revival. Pandora, very lucky in that situation. The things did not turn south after the shot from Team Hind. Expand still alive, and they've got the next circle. They don't have to rotate out. Team Hind need to make their way in, and Pandora's just playing the pressure from this high ground. And Expand should be able to have eyes on Team Hind in a little bit. Look at Putra just making his way towards that guard machine as well. You gotta loot what you can loot.
Yeah. And Pandora, I think, at this point are also happy that they have the edge of the circle. They do not want to give this opportunity to everybody else or anybody trying to strike in their position. But right now, trouble that could strike for Godlike is going to be because of Autobotz in the compound and the positioning that they are in, and very close by are going to be Revenant XSpark. But Horaa, in the meanwhile, they put an end to the run of Team 2XD. Unfortunate, but that is going to be the end, at least on this game of Kalahari for Team 2XD. But what could unravel right now? Autobotz, Revenant XSpark, and Godlike all waiting for maybe a disadvantage. But let's take a look at this instant replay. This is what happened. Stops, even though Horaa were in a disadvantage, it was a 2v1 situation. Stops still takes a timeout and does find the last elimination to put Team 2XD out of the running race.
But now Horaa in trouble. There's just no way he can get that booyah. It's nowhere near to a vending machine just yet. And he, oh, look at Sparsy though. He's trying to make a play for this, but such a late game revival. Snipes.
Damage.
Sparsies. GG. It's Revenant XSpark, X-Divine drops him. Easy play off that AC-80, and every single play on the side of Revenant XSpark, he's got either a marksman or a sniper on him, ready for those long-range attacks on this Kalahari map. Autobotz Godlike towards their left. Revenant XSpark needs to be really careful here because they're going to be rotating out in the open, and both squads will have easy crosshair placements on them.
But I think Godlike, they're worried mainly about Autobotz itself. That's why they're not even inclined to Revenant XSpark's rotation. Boltmaker called out again, but now Godlike will be forced, or Autobotz will be forced to take a battle. Who climbs down or who climbs up? That's the question. But Nancy decides to make a jump right out, and Autobotz is still out in the open, stuck, and there is the opening. Marco finds, and with that blink of an eye, it is damage being done to Autobotz. One last player still surviving, making a jump, and he is still holding off at the edge of the glue wall, and he will also be put to rest. And that is going to be Godlike holding themselves at the edge right now, but the zone's closing in. They have to make a run. They have to make their entry as Pandora and Expand kick things off for a fight.
FFMIC champions just got expanded by Team Expand. Beautiful play by the Malaysian squad. And now Godlike, Marco trying to interfere in this battle as well. Waltz gets knocked down by the circle. So late in the game. Valiant dash will break through those defenses and help them make it into the next circle as well. Arpik finds Marco. Easy shot. Sion with the Winchester finds the connection as well onto Nancy. Godlike just catching strays here from the side of Expand.
Nobita, he's the last survivor trying to confirm, gets the elimination, but he's not safe. The team that we spoke about, Revenant XSpark, they're the ones who have an advantage. All these squads were busy fighting amongst themselves, and Revenant XSpark were busy positioning themselves for this final battle. They have the numbers in their favor. They have the resources ready for a battle. Expand on the other end somehow pushed off Pandora, but Pandora, look at them. They're making a jump once again towards the edge of the compound because the zones moved in the other direction. This could be an opportunity for Pandora if they strike it well in balance, but Revenant XSpark, they're also moving in that same direction. Expand in trouble as a flash freeze comes across. They will not be able to make a move, but Revenant XSpark, they do against the last two lads of Pandora. And Revenant XSpark finally, right now understanding the lobby, find their openings and they're in the top 3.
There's a great rotation there by Revenant XSpark, playing the circle perfectly, waiting for that opportune moment to sneak behind the wall so they don't have to deal with Expand just yet. But as I say that high ground advantage by Expand, and they'll drop Ash right outside. Nobita with the M590 shot. Godlike just playing a little bit of a disadvantage towards Revenant XSpark before he gets taken out. Expand should be able to find the connection with the shots, but can Revenant XSpark climb to the top using Nobita as that distraction? But it seems like Revenant XSpark's not going to make a play for that just yet. They want to set up the defensive on that ground floor, waiting for Expand to look for them in a little bit. And Nobita will survive that rotation with those glue walls. Finally a tag onto him with the F590, but it does not put the player out just yet.
Nobita still surviving as the last man from Godlike. Revenant XSpark inside the compound and Expand on these rooftops. Who will win in this last and final battle? Such a standoff, and Nobita goes in the other direction completely afar from both these two squads. Doesn't want an intervention where he gets eliminated. He rather wants to end up in that second spot if possible. Or if there's an opportunity that they battle amongst themselves and the numbers go down, he still has an opportunity to strike and get a booyah for Godlike.
There's a coda on the side of Revenant XSpark. They know exactly where Expand is, so positions revealed. Luki repositions, has the Moss, but that's on cooldown. Out in the open, opportunity for Revenant XSpark to punish. Nobita does not take that shot. He wants to hide away and perhaps sneak a decent booyah away. Great glue wall by Waltz as he jumps straight across, looking for the final player on the side of Godlike. Nobita still not spotted out just yet. And Waltz will miss that opportunity at a free point.
Expand, they've made it across, but Nobita, he'll be forced out in the open. He makes another run. What is happening? Expand, their player of Fee gets caught out in the open. That's wins, and this is the game we spoke about. Revenant XSpark always strike really well when they have their sniper ready. Luki wants to go for a pickup. He just spotted Nobita, so he gets a little bit distracted. Jumps across another roof now. This has just been back and forth for Expand. Riptide Rhythm being used, but it doesn't go in the direction they would have wanted, and therefore Nobita as well as the player from Expand will survive. Mine's being dodged. Valz, he makes a jump across, and Revenant XSpark, look at their movement. Vincent gets into the compound now. Valz, he has to take this fight, and there's an opportunity, and there he strikes. Valz with the M590 strikes, but quick on the reaction is going to be with the Charge Buster, Gopu OP, and now Luki is the last one standing, and Nobita as well, the last one who gets this confirmation, steals it away from Revenant XSpark.
Finally, that's revenge right there. Gopu OP earning that point off of him. Luki with a sharp shot from the top. Divine down on the ground, but it's a 1v3 for Luki. Can he pull this off? The circle 2 type for an AWM. Perhaps a VSK would make the play here. Uses the hook gun, gets up on top. Divine about to be picked up here. Luki cannot strike just yet. Drops down to the bottom. Up close and personal with the AWM, but Gopu OP shows him exactly what an OP play is up close and personal. AC80 earns Revenant XSpark the booyah.
What a game coming in from Revenant XSpark. So many battles that they could have dwelled themselves in, but they wait for an opportunity of a booyah and they do win it out. And for sure, looking at Gopu OP, it is for somebody special that this booyah has been conquered by Revenant XSpark. Brilliant stuff coming through. The way they played, moved around the compounds, held their positioning. That takes nerves of steel, AJ, to kind of not lose over there, not lose your mental, not make a mistake. They played together as a unit and moved around for this booyah.
This booyah was because of my teddy, given to me by my baby. That's exactly what he wanted to say, and he sure as hell got that right. And it was a beautiful rotation right here when they caught Pandora off guard. The timing was perfectly timed with that circle as they made their rotation in the M1014. The shotgun, the perfect weapon for such a close-range battle. But you gotta say, man, Nobita sneaking off that point, even towards that very final moment, was just chef's kiss for the side of Godlike. On survival, knew he had no opportunity for the booyah unless he really lucked out with it. But if it's 1 point extra, it's 1 point extra. He went in for it.
He went in. He stood his ground. He wanted an extra, whether it could be 8 in terms of placement points that he wanted or 9, which could have given him 1 extra point. He thought at least elimination, because both Revenant XSpark and Expand were not fighting amongst themselves, rather with just jumping buildings. They looked like they were just shifting their homes for the time being, left and right, and eventually Nobita decided, I think I have to strike, I have to do something. But you have to give it to Revenant XSpark as well. They had so many opportunities to just fight with Godlike from the very beginning in the position they were in. They always ran away from it, decided to hold the compound, circle started moving, threaded in that direction, and you have to give kudos to X Divine of how he managed to make this rotation for the team, predict how they would want to make their movement to get this booyah. 12 total eliminations, make it the same for the placement points for the booyah they get, and a total of 24, crossing that X with Godlike as well as they get their big game finally.
Yeah, Revenant XSpark, Godlike, Expand, all on 24 points. Come on, what a run. And I have to say, big respect to Expand. The Malaysian squad definitely playing on a different level here at the Fire Max Asia Invitational, trying their very best to prove that they are definitely no chump squads. And the recovery play from Revenant XSpark, hitting that booyah, getting to the top alongside Godlike is just so impressive. And Godlike with the 16 eliminations, topping the leaderboard overall. This was a great recovery for the two teams who have definitely been struggling to find their footing from the very first matchup that we opened things on. But Titanic, though, from Thailand, has still not found the recovery just yet.
Not yet, nothing yet found, but something to be found right now is going to be a MVP spot for Arsh. 4 eliminations in total and a damage of 2,277, assist of 2, with him having Oscar along with Joseph, Nikita and J Beebs, and his winning weapon is going to be a Winchester tagged along with the pet body of Arvon and using the team booster. And I really like how they played at the end as well, AJ, and I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure in case that this was the same communication, but they used X Divine over there as a bait, and pretty sure while he was thinking, oh wait, they'll go for a revival, I have a 1v1 challenge. But that was not the case. They knew that they will somebody go in for a challenge for that 1v1 in that final battle, and eventually it was them winning this out.
And I think Expand had a really good chance at a booyah here.
Yeah.
Second booyah of the day. But they just got a little too careless. In fact, I think it was a little bit too overconfident for them to just be jumping around with that hook gun back and forth, right? But let's take a look at the active seal combination here. You have the Chrono Oscar, Coda Skylar, and a big reason why Revenant XSpark survived that final circle was all thanks to Gopo OP with his Coda and with the Aurora Vision just exposing the spot of Team Expand. So they knew exactly where they should be avoiding, and they knew that they had to just stick with that cover and not move around like what Expand was doing.
I think it was this Aurora Vision itself which forced Expand to make that mistake, because we were seeing, right? Hey, we are not here. We are not here. When you're not here. They were just jumping across the building, but that plan itself did not work out for Expand in their favor. Nice try though, but on the other end, Revenant XSpark, they played out really well in this whole fight itself to secure a booyah in their name. And also were very, being steady, right? Never got into a position where they were losing their minds. They were trying to have an issue of, hey, do we have an opportunity? Do we not have an opportunity? Should we take a battle? I think there were very clear-cut calls and decision making coming in from the squad, and X Divine taking the right shots at the opponents when it was needed. And as you also mentioned, right, them moving in that final fight once the zone started to shift against and ahead of Pandora is where their booyah started to write for themselves.
Yeah, the positioning, the timing of Revenant XSpark in this game was just absolutely spot on, and they definitely deserve the booyah here for themselves. A great big reason as to why the booyah was more possible was also because of the distraction by Godlike's Nobita out in the open. Expand was a tad bit confused, right? Because they thought, okay, maybe Revenant XSpark has got one player who has just randomly run out here onto the battlefield. They were trying to get to the opposite building to find a clear snipe onto him. That distraction was more than enough to punish a couple of players on the side of Expand. As they were jumping back and forth, Revenant XSpark said, okay, you know what? Now's the time for us to take action. The Winchesters kicked in. They got a couple of knocks. Beautiful play. I cannot ask for a better game because this was that recovery that we were talking about for the two Indian squads.
You were even mentioning, finally do it, please, Revenant XSpark. You've had them in your caster predictions and they do it. And it was also that opening that they found with Afiq while he was also trying to use the hook gun and make a jump across the building. And yeah I think Nobita, they were worried. They were like, wait, there's somebody who's running between the buildings. Who is that? Why can't we catch him? And at the same time, when they enter the building, they don't see him at all. He's literally a magician in works, and Godlike would have also loved it because eventually with all the efforts that Nobita put, ended up getting an extra elimination point for Godlike as a total and a game as a recovery, which worked in their favor. So Godlike fans will also be happy. A lot of recovery being done, especially in this game for the Indian squads, AJ.
Yeah, on that point, Expand keeps that #1 spot because of their performance. But we're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, it's going to be Neptune and Arca on the desk. Lucifer and Mustachio signing off.
Recovery begins the moment a team chooses adaptation over frustration, and that's what the Indian teams have done so far. After a ruthless beating in game number 1, it seems like they've started to adapt in game 2 and 3. And I believe this is going to be the storyline for now. You guys are watching Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring. Myself, Arka. With me on the desk is going to be the god of fresh water, Neptune himself. And Neptune, you know, we've been watching the games back. I do believe like the Indian teams are slowly catching up.
I mean, I do believe that that is the same case really all throughout the game. And let's see if that it would be the same in the next map that we have right now. Again, 3 maps in already, and we're heading in to Solara. And we're looking at the preferred drop spot. And hopefully this is not a case where we see those who are getting that booyah or being the top of the board right now to really be eliminated, because from what we witnessed earlier, the Booyah curse is still on, but we don't see that much of a downfall for most of the teams.
Absolutely. Now again, we have also seen that the point difference between the top team and the bottom team is still doable. They can still make a proper comeback. They've got 3 more games in their hand, so that means a close collision or even an adaptation is still an open gate.
Let's see, though, if that gate would be open or probably would be shut down later on. Now, I'm taking my eyes on TV Tower right now because most of the time that is where a lot of teams are taking that elevation, that drop spot, and that's where all the engagement happen. Once that early hot drop does happen, that's a little bit of slowdown from everyone because we know that that's in the middle of most of the zone that we see in this map. So we're really looking forward to some of those playing it safe right now, especially from the first 3 games. We've seen a few of those teams being eliminated early. We're talking about Lakar EWG. We've seen GG Instinct, wherein they have the firepower, but it doesn't sustain. And even Titanic Esports has been taken out a little bit early as well.
I guess it's the aggression, right? You are correctly pointed out that few teams are being overly aggressive in few fights, due to which, you know, that split of 1v3 which we usually see in the newer meta is kind of missing out. Believing in their 4v4s, they're getting taken down early on. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for us to look at our predictions, and I request you guys to please go ahead and let us know which is your favorite team from your region. It's going to give us a better understanding. I go with Hind yet again because I can see that composed, controlled aggression coming in from this team. Pandora, obviously, you know, once the box opens up and then the devils are unleashed. And GG Instance, yes, you already spoke about them. They're slowly picking up the pace.
Well, for me, I'm going for what is showing up in the data right now, the top 3 out of the 3 games that we have. X-Band, who has been phenomenal. 2 out of 3 games they have been in top 3. We've seen Horaa in there, though they were being eliminated a little bit, but we've seen the firepower in them. It's more of the elimination that they're gathering and not the placement. The same goes with Autobotz Esports. So hopefully they will be topping the board this time around, but I do agree with you, especially with the intro that we have in the second half. Revenant XSpark is slowly picking things up. Even Team Hind has managed to grab a booyah, but it's that consistency that we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, again, you spoke about the top 3 teams on the overall standing right now in your predictions, right? Especially Expand, the way they're able to adapt to this lobby so quickly. So far, we have seen in the previous stage of the tournament, it's the Indian teams who have made the lobby itself Indian because of that big number. But this time, it's a different story altogether with more numbers being coming in from the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be heading into the next map of the day. Prepare yourselves. Make sure you share among your friends. Don't be greedy, because this map is just gonna make things so much more hotter with the sun on the horizon. It's Solara on our screens anytime soon.
Well, the map is the arena, and every squad walking in knows it's no easy exit once the fight begins. And here is Solara right now. As we take a look at the flight path, it is coming from the hub and heading in past a TV tower, as well as in between Delta Isle and Aquarium. So let's see who's going to drop in on that TV tower. We've seen a lot of hot drops happening in that area because of the elevation as well as the easy access vending machine. But if they're smart enough to get away from the trouble that they had in the first 3 games, they would plan to move away from any early engagement.
Absolutely. I believe that you have read the minds of the players as we see not many confrontations. Nonetheless, I see Team Hind and 2XD very close to one another towards that windmill region. And also Revenant XSpark, they were clever enough to evade the base side and try to get themselves at the Casa Vista. Now, the early commotion is out there as 2XD gonna be losing a player, and it's gonna be Shoto starting things off, but a trade is highly possible.
Now, don't cry. Definitely trying not to cry after being eliminated early. Shoto goes for a turnaround. Score L in hand, and now they're leading the fray with 2 eliminations. Now the chase is on, but on the other side, it's 2 players being taken down, and it is because of Pandora who managed to get 1 out of that elimination. Hind would be backing away just for a few moments as they recuperate from that engagement, but I guess they need to move forward if they want to get more from this fight.
I love this positioning coming in from Team Hind. Look at how Shoto is placed behind some hard covers, still has vision over the opponents, but for now, he's got to be showing his back, needs to be careful. Because Pandora, they don't miss much, and there it is, the retaliation comes through. As Tio puts 1 player down, immediately gets that confirmation, but Wolverine sticking close to that vending machine will be bringing back his player, but Tio says, you know what, I've got more, and he's here to challenge the IGL of Team Hind, that is KD God.
Ooh! KD God being hit through the window, getting into the room, and a pickup will be done instantaneously on Kisans. And now Pandora with 3 eliminations already, looking for a few players from Team Hind. But again, from what we witnessed earlier, the moment that 1 player has been taken down, a revival has been done. But a little bit of a replay right now from the final moment of Fahim. He didn't expect someone to be in funfair or in funfair, and that's one thing that you would need to be cautious despite of the spread that has been done by the teams. Seems like there's a few things that they didn't anticipate, especially on those final moments.
Absolutely. But Pandora, seems like they've stuck another team, and this time they'll have to prove whether they're going to be the iceberg, because this Titanic seems to be having a good run so far. As Palm, you know, one of those players who's been impressive throughout his career so far. He's been consistent for his teams. But this time, he'll have to do something special, because the Asia Invitational is turning out to be more than what we expect it to be. Atta coming in closer against Pandora. This close range battle is going to predict either way.
Cito Putra has been spotted, and anticipation shots would be coming in from that side though. Greatly anticipated, greatly worked on by Titanic right now. Pum is slowly recovering, but it's slow. It's very, very slow. Same goes with Chinoy right now, and that disrupts the gameplay from Titanic Esports. But there goes that shot coming from Ada boy at it as they go in for another rush. But finally, a drop has been done by Tio onto Ada. And here comes Per trying to barricade himself, but unfortunately has been taken down. But a couple of eliminations can be confirmed by Titanic right now, and Putra will be hit with Chinoy on that M24. It seems like 3 eliminations confirmed from Titanic, and they're not going down. They're not sinking that easily.
Absolutely, what a comeback in this fight. I know Atta kind of had so much information of where the opponents are, but I loved the way he was more composed. He knew that all he had to do was take 1 shot under that composure. But now, Revenant XSpark on the other side. Gopu down on his knees. It's going to be EWG trying to dominate that. Divine buying some time, making sure that Gopu gets revived. He's now looking for that close range battle. Gopu needs to fall back. He's been careful so far. As EWG, they're able to feel that pressure. Then unable to put down players. 1 player down, and they're trying to convert more as Cyber is trying to do his best. Gopu falls back from this position, and the conversion just goes in favor of EWG. Revenant XSpark were looking so strong initially, is now on the receiving end of things.
Yeah, it's tough right now, especially when you try to fight back right that and you got isolated. That's what EWG is doing right now, and 3 elimination already to their hand, forcing for some of the players to really move away from that engagement. But for Autobotz right now, they are just silently eliminating a lot of teams right here. 6 points already for them. The next target would be Godlike, and if that continuation of a run is being aimed at by Godlike right now, they need to eliminate Autobotz, but how can they do it? It seems like Autobotz has been aggressive, and they're not slowing down.
And they're facing the broth of it. There it is. One player gets taken on, but the fair trade comes in as Mad God will be able to get that revenge. 7 eliminations. And he fortifies himself, gets to that vending machine, gets that revival. And will have to fall back to an angle from where Venom will be able to give a bit of backup. Marco comes in closer. Even though the action takes place, nobody gets taken down. Both of them are very low on their HP. They fall back to recover. It's good for us to say that Godlike are left out with just 2 players in this vicinity.
Let's see, though. I mean, it's tough to have only 2 players, but they did manage to have 1 player earlier before this game started. Mad God! Not really doing anything, doesn't have the weapon in hand, and that's one thing. If you're close to your opponent, you need to have your guns out. And Marco, up close and personal with M590, and Kunal think that he might be able to bring them down, but it's just that patience gameplay coming from Godlike right now that's making them win the fight. But I think they've spotted a different team going in against them, and let's see if Horaa will say Horaa and take down Godlike in this mix.
They have an idea that Godlike is kind of injured, and that's what they're trying to do. Slash upon them with their hardest strike, but eventually Godlike, you know, they're smart enough. They fall back again, trying to use the topography of that building, hold those off angles, and then strike when the iron is hot. But for now, Godlike, I just love this change they bought in. Until now, we saw that Marco was trying to be the sniper of the team, and now is adapted to those shotguns. In those close range battle, has always been phenomenal. Look at how they're trying to restrict the opponents from getting in closer. Kicking is the grenade, it falls in, but strikes right, and Godlike before they could breathe. All 3 player gets taken down, and Horaa, as you said, for this fight, says we are Horaa this place.
Now, let's see though, Nancy try and go in for revive, 1100 on coins, and only bringing 1 player back. Less than 100 coins needed for 2 more in there. But I'm loving that Horaa managed to push them together in one spot, use that ice grenade to spot them, to mark them, and with that Moko, it gives the general position of the team. Thus, that push was not really a blind one, even coming from the ground floor. So that's tactical approach being brought in by Horaa right now. But as Godlike recovers a few of their teammates, which seems like Extreme X right now will be battling the team that is topping the board. It is Expand, who has been continuously significant in this fight.
Absolutely. They've always played on information. Hey, knowledge is power, my friend, and that's what EXA relies on. They want complete information. Look at that. They put that plushie to get to know what's happening out there. Once they realize that there are players behind that compound, probably reposition, use some throwables before they strike. Sadly, they've not got any. Tucson, he comes in from the other side. 3 players rushing in. Walls and Afiq needs to be careful. As Rusty gets in closer, EXP realize that they need to change the position, and they do it smartly.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it smartly, isolating Flicker right now, who has been an Overwatch. He jumps out and got tagged by Balls with that Mag 7. Now that's 1 down already. Being forced into that rotation, Expand seems like they are unstoppable. But Extreme X, well, they are not out just yet. They'll force away from that vending machine. No recovery will be happening. And still shot from afar with an M24. Seems like Extreme X is going for an Extreme and trying to step into the open.
No.
But the thing that they need to worry about is Team Hind, who's not being left behind.
Absolutely, it's going to be the champions from the Indian region trying to take down EXE. They realize they need to pay back for the first game as Shoto gets his 3rd elimination. It's going to be Team Hind looking out for the final player who's trying to run away from this position, but I don't think so. It's going to be easy. Very low on HP. Jumps off at the right time to recover. For now, he runs away from the jaws of death, but somewhere I feel that's not going to be enough as Lukey puts him down. The M82B. 1 bullet was all that was required to put an end for EXE.
Well, I guess Expand needs to thank Team Hind right there for pushing them into their way. Now the question though is, will they be meeting up? But before we head there, it seems like Titanic is their boat is being rocked right now from afar. Tiger in there with that VSK shot, and even Titanic don't know where it's coming from. They are struggling right now to recover, and here comes the lightning zone. It's DG Instinct instinctively forcing them out in the open. This might be another downfall from the Thai team.
Swaroop trying to make sure that he pushes his team forward. Atta in the air, very low on HP. Another elimination in the flying. But TTN, how they prepare to escape further. Luckily, Swaroop as well as Tiger, very low on HP, is going to force them to fall back for now. As the Bolt Maker is going to keep them at the tip of their toe. Look at the circle shifting away from most of these teams. And now EXP, Expand, have got the center of the circle.
Let's see now, Expand. Going for Godlike, up close and personal, but unfortunately, that sniper is not best on a CQC, and Expand is taking advantage of that. Now here comes Autobotz. It is one of my prediction right here, going against each other, and this not looking good for that top three. But here comes Expand trying to move away. Even Mad God managed to be eliminated before they exit the building. But from a moment ago, before we head into this fight, we also witnessed a few of those engagement happening in TV Tower. But I guess because of the shift of the circle, they will be moving out. But from what we're seeing right now, the binoculars being used on the other side, and they might have spotted Titanic. Now let's see if they'll be able to take advantage of this. But as we head into TV Tower, we change the channel a little bit, and it's Revenant XSpark going against Pandora.
Pandora got themselves completely covered. Hush gets in closer, puts one player down. Revenant XSpark are starting to see an upper hand as Pandora's box seems to be shut down for now. As the last player out there, and before I could complete my sentence, it's Pandora's box for now. They're going to be going back to the lobby. And Revenant XSpark seems to have woken up on the right side of the bed for this game. As now they'll have to make it inside the circle. The approach is right if you ask me. Because now the backlines are clear and they can concentrate on the teams in the front.
Let's see though, on the other side, GG Insane, the team that has been putting a lot of pressure on a lot. Earlier it was Titanic, and now it's Horaa, and it is not looking good for this team. Voodoo right now, in spite of the snipers that he has and all those shots being land, I don't think he'll be able to make it, but no! With that card 98, a clutch play from Horaa with 6 elimination, but he's not out of the woods just yet. Not only is the Bolt Maker putting pressure on him, but on the other side, it's also Autobotz. But as we switch to a different team, Titanic tries to beat down Expand, and they did manage to eliminate them. So the top of the board is already out. Anyone can take the #1 spot.
Horaa trying to put pressure on everybody visible in front of their eyes. But for now, Titanic, the way they've held on to the ground, the way they're able to retaliate to every single team trying to come closer to them. And look at how they're pressurizing EWG. They're making sure that they melt the glue walls, have vision over the opponents, and with one player down, they're trying to push them away. And that's going to be their primary agenda. Push the opponents away, because this is a 3-man squad. You need to take that mid-range battle.
No, Titanic right now healing each other. Recovery is, and as quickly as that, 14-minute mark, we're already down to top 4. This is how aggressive the teams are right now. They're slowly building it up for the first half of this day, and now some of the teams are already warmed up. I guess they're fired up. Warmed up is an understatement based on what we've seen.
Absolutely. But for now, look at how Titanic's so persistent. Small pixels visible, and they strike. With Ara coming in from an off angle as he comes out in the open. Pre needs to be careful, as that Arsenal is going to be the home for EWG. They come in for a revival, but they're going to be failing it. As in on the other side, Team Hind is watching all of this take place. Titanic now pushes towards their Arsenal. Lineman's being placed left, right, and center. As they put up a grenade to eliminate everything. Autobots get eliminated from the other side from 2 different directions. Things are not looking great for both these teams.
Oh, hopefully they can get away, but it is looking tough right now. Though the Arsenal is in there as a little bit of cover, but we're seeing a few of those knockdowns already being done. EWG, Fusan will not last that long, and Titanic right now, well, they might be a steamboat, but you know how it is. They will be steamrolling out of this team. But let's see how Team Hind is going to fight back. Wolfman has been taken down. Shoda right now in the 1v2, and it seems like the backup is here with KD God, but what can they do against 3 players rushing in against you? It's not that easy as Titanic slowly brings them down. It's now a 1v3.
I don't think so. Shailjot can do much because Palm is going weird. He's going aggressive and he's done the impossible. Pulls off a 1v3 in that final circle to get a booyah for his team. This Titanic crashes through all the icebergs to make sure they survive. They rise through the fire to get a booyah in the map of Solara. But have they done enough to be in the top 3 of the overall standing? Because it's all about your placement to be at the very tippy top.
Oh, yeah. That would depend on how much point they gathered in there. Because, again, #1 spot has been grabbed by Expand because of the consistency that they have. With one game in Purgatory where they got eliminated early, that's one thing that they could have worked on. But with Titanic, I think they did manage to get elimination points that is decent enough to push them that high. But as we look into the final 3 teams, again, it's not that easy for most cases right now, especially Titanic being a full squad and isolating the player of Team Hind. It was a real difficult run, a difficult climb for the champions of India.
For some reason, I did not see how Wallman was taken down first, and I believe that's one of the reasons why Titans were able to bounce back. He's been the MVP for the team lately, and with the strongest sling cut off, it was easy for Palm to do his things in that final circle. My goodness, a close-range sniper action which we never expected to see in the Asia Invitational, and I believe the Indian teams out there were thriving to learn from everybody else would have to pick this up as quickly as possible.
Well, so as we look into the game standings, 31 points. It's 1 point short, though, out of the best game that we've seen from a team, and that was Expand. But I'm still buying this. Titanic Esports is now on the board, and we've seen that lineup that we had earlier as well. Caramel, Chinoy, Poom, and we know for a fact, for those who are following Southeast Asia, Poom was previously known as One More, so does have a champion DNA on him. Thus, the aggression is real.
Absolutely. Look at the point standings. For those who were aggressive, have been rewarded to be in the top 6. Expand with 10 eliminations, GG Sins with 10, making it 15 and 14 total points respectively. Autobotz, a bit of survival and aggression, rewarded them in the top 3 with 16 points. Horaa has always been consistent with 12. Little sad to see that Team 2X as well as EXE at the very bottom, which is going to eventually push them a little more down in the overall standing, as at the tippity top we have still got Expand, making sure their gameplay expands through the maps. As Titanic, they're going to be holding the 2nd spot, and the difference between the top 2 seems to be becoming bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a comeback from the beginning of the second half, and seems like Titanic did manage to get a comeback. From 0 elimination, 0 points from the previous game of Kalahari, now they have 31 in addition to what they've done in the first 2 games. Team Hind, the same story.
Yeah.
They only got 3 points from the first game,
Yep.
and then slowly they managed to get a booyah, and then a lot of points for that past 3 games. So I'm really loving the storyline, how the back and forth is happening right now from all of the games. But let's take a peek at the MVP from that game. It's Poom, and he is the sniper. He has been wearing that AWM, that Riptide Rhythm out of Skylar, and he is looking forward to that point meta as well with that Zuzi, the money mark that makes them come back every time they fall down.
No, I was expecting him to have an enhanced hammer or something like that, a tactical market, just to make sure that the opponents will have to run at the tip of the toe with the bold maker when required. Palm was not looking to be defensive as a sniper, but rather being as aggressive as possible. The number speaks for itself, as damage is 5,303 with 6 assists. Now I'm looking forward to see how his teammates have done, because if your sniper is doing such a great job, all you can do is have the best seat in the house and watch him decimate the rest of the lobby.
Oh, look at those skills, aggression overall, and I'm really surprised to see Tatsuya being brought in, but it's it's something that we don't see often, especially when it has been nerfed. Yes, when each knockdown you go that refresh on that Rebel Rush, but if you already have a Valiant Dash, I think it's more of you heading against opponents quite quickly, and with backup coming in from their snipers, as well as a little bit of support with an A124, Per and Poom has their position on point.
8 assists for 1,700 damage. No wonder this team was looking aggressive in this lobby. Let's not forget that Chinoy as well has done a beautiful job. He's got 6 elements for 5 knockouts. Atta on the other side has also contributed really well for the overall equation. And I do believe that, if such teams are able to get that momentum, they're going to look forward for some big games in the left out maps. For now, we're looking at how the circle analysis has turned out to be. GG Instance, they started off well with 5 elements, so is Autobotz, who got 8 in the first circle. But after which we have seen, right, Indian teams tend to shy away from fights at the second, third and the fourth circle, due to which whenever they're forced to fight in these circles, they get eliminated.
I mean, it's really tough right now, but I was keeping my eyes on Titanic. From Windmill heading into Casa Vista. Casa Vista is where they had a little bit of trouble. They managed to recover, build themselves up, and then the final moment. I think they're one of the few teams who was late in that final circle, and they didn't even give a chance to the shift, or probably they took advantage of the shift. The rotation was on point, and that's where Titanic managed to take down the teams of Hind.
Absolutely. Now, there's a question which arises in my head. Have the other teams, apart from Indian teams, are able to also read the lobby well? Because I don't see any kind of comeback from that of RNTX. I don't see that Godlike is able to, avenge what they've been losing in the first initial games. The aggressive seems to be strong, but somewhere I feel that they'll have to do something better because their drop spots are not looking great.
Hello, Cito. I mean, drop spots indeed. There's a few hot drop that we are expecting right now in Pochinop as well as Hind. And let's see though if that's something they will take or probably move away. And from what we've seen, even from the previous days of the competition, even on the South Asia play-ins, that northern side has been cleared. Plantation, Riverside, even Mill, and even Sentosa has not been taken. So that's an opportunity for the teams to switch up their rotation right now. But you did mention about Revenant XSpark, though they didn't put up that much of a fight from that engagement, from that Solara map. I think a comeback is bound to happen. So I'm looking forward to them make that change. But the only question though is, would the other teams change as well to catch up to them?
I strongly believe so, because they have enough games throughout the day. They had enough games throughout the day to adapt to a lobby like this. And I know the quick learners, everybody are there in this lobby. We have got some champions, we have got some teams who have fought their way to be here. So I do believe that after this, we can expect things to go very close to one another. The point difference between the top team and the bottoms might cover up. I know for now, the top of the table seems to be untouched. But for the rest of the spots, it's still an open book.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, Expand has managed to put a lot of points already to make sure that they are on top of the board for a longer time with 21 points. But let's take a look at the predictions coming from us too after that game. I'm going to keep my Expand prediction because they were phenomenal right now, keeping that top of the board. I'm going to bring in Horaa in there because of how well they fought in that fight, and you did mention about Revenant XSpark, so this is the chance where I think a comeback might be happening.
I'm going with Revenant XSpark. I have a similar thought that they might have a controlled aggression approach for the upcoming games, but at the same time, EWG, right? I believe that, when a Wounded Lion comes into the lobby, they have a lot more to prove. And that's why I go with EWG and 2XT. Both these teams capable of so much when it comes to a 4v4 have been restricted, have been third-partied every single time. We'll look forward to make a comeback out here. And I hope they do so. But whereas for those who are watching back home, please do let us know your predictions for the upcoming game. And let me remind you, the reason we are putting you on the spot is because we're going to be playing the map of Bermuda. And everybody knows this map in and out.
Yeah, I do agree. And again, going back to Bermuda, it seems like there's a lot of teams that are way over familiar, and those hot drops or the potential hot drops that might be happening right now might be ending a couple of teams quite easily. Thus, we implore everyone, all the teams who will be jumping in here into this game of game number 5, to move away from those early engagement. Spread out. There's plenty of space, especially on this OG map, and I'm pretty sure that they will, or they might be able to do so. But again, from what we've seen in Solara,
Yeah.
it was quite a fast game. Only, 15 minutes? A little bit over 15 minutes. The game was over. So I guess that's where some of the teams are really turning things up into the battlefield.
Absolutely. Now, again, when we look at few lineups, right, I'm kind of shocked to see that teams like Revenant XSpark are kind of lagging because their new addition, Gopu, from the time he's come back, look at how many booyahs they've got in the previous stage. They got 4 to make it through into the main event. And hopefully, that is one of the reasons why we're going to be watching them decimate the lobby as we'll be heading into the map of Bermuda, ladies and gentlemen. You all know what time it is. It's time for you to share this link to your teammates, to your friends, so that you can come in over here and learn from the pros how to get through the fire.
Yeah, definitely learning from the pros how to get through the fire. And this is your Bermuda battle broadcast. We are expecting a little bit of warm condition and stable rotation and severe warning for any of the teams caught crossing open ground without cover. But for the flight path right now, seems like it's coming through in the middle from Cape Town to Hangar. Let's see if rain would be happening right now in any area of this map.
Interesting jump coming in from Godlike. Even though they wanted to go to Cape Town, they did not take a jump early on. They waited for everybody else until the flight path went to peak, and then they chose to come back. But the sad part is they've got GG Instance around the shoulder. And let me tell you this, GG Instance and Godlike so far, it's been 6-0 in favor of GG Instance.
Let's see now, GT Instincts. Well, the Binocular has been put into Godlike, or probably vice versa, but they will need to move fast. And there goes a few elimination already onto the side. It is 2XD, and then we switch over to Cape Town, where we were looking at on that flight. It is Godlike getting a point for themselves. So GG Instincts, well, hopefully the Instincts kicks in right now that they move away from that fight as we look into some of the teams, especially Titanic Esports, who has been aggressive in the previous game. Let's see if they will be opening Pandora's box right now.
I hope the ship is strong enough to sail over the Pandora's box, but Atta, he's been buying time. He's been making sure he shuffles around this vicinity, running away from the plushie. Now Pandora don't have any idea where Atta is. At least for the time being, he's gonna make sure that, you know, he takes the fight to the opponents. Shifts over to another gun altogether. Whereas from far away, we see another player coming in from the side of Pandora who might have eyes on him. And Atta, he gets shotted from the right side. He has no clue that Putra might be coming in close.
Puma has been taken down the moment that Titanic steps in. Pickup can be done, but hopefully they can recover. Putra there managed to go for that relocation with the rest of the squad. And also we witnessed, I do agree, we have one on the other side. It's Otang and 99 who managed to get on flank. Now it's dash right now coming from Tio, but he got taken down. Here comes the rest of the squad of Pandora trying to go in for the pickup, but no, they weren't able to take Tio up. And it's Atta who will be eliminated with that shot from Putra. Unexpected, but 4K coming from the team. Really hard.
Expand raiding the lobby, right? They heard the commotion towards the Cape Town region. They know that Godlike have got 2 down. They also know amongst the fight that Godlike might be deviated. They put down Nobita, and now they head into the vicinity of Cape Town. Expand got 1 elimination for themselves. Since they are at the very top of the table, they can be the loose cannons in the lobby. They can take advantage of the situation, try to make sure that they be more aggressive than any other team in this lobby right now.
Yeah, let's see now. I mean, a fast approach with that horse onto that flank coming from Expand right now. And Lucky is just taking point, making sure he got a good angle against Godlike right here. But here comes Xeon. Try to move in slowly, try to loot up as well. So there's no aggression plan right now until they get that go signal coming from Lucky. But Marco being tagged up, M24 shots. But it's a good thing he managed to pull up that glue wall and also pull away on the other side. Here comes Xeon right now, a little too close for comfort. Hopefully backup would be coming fast.
He'll need that backup. For now, UAV doesn't reveal much, whereas look at how GG Instance have now converged from all 4 directions. 2XD needs to be careful, even though Swaroop is kind of below the hill. I believe it's time for them to regroup. Patlu comes and takes that high spot position, be the bird's eye view. But Jonas immediately sees Tiger around that vicinity, puts some shots against him, making him a little weak for power to overpower him and get that elimination as quickly as possible. GG Instincts, even though it seems like they were coming in from all four directions, the distance has made them suffer.
Ooh. Oh, let's see now. Directions. And let's see if this direction from 2XD might bring us to a 4XD after eliminating the full squad of GG Instincts. Here comes the rest of the squad. Now let's see if the rotation would be enough for them to make it through. Don't fly right now. Shots with a VSS on the other side. Might be able to land one more shot with that M24, but unfortunately, he doesn't want to risk any of those engagement. Yes, it's more of the force or them forcing GG Instincts onto the area where rushers are, and this might be a chance that they're looking for.
Incognito, Don't Cry has got a shot against Patlu. He takes it, but doesn't land a headshot, due to which it could be a little problematic. Swaroop on the other side is going to be the next one to be wounded. And now Team 2DX can take advantage of the situation. Jonas gets taken down. Power comes in closer for a close range battle. Doesn't do much, but yes, he retaliates right. Puts down Psycho, and now he's got the revival as well. GG Instincts, even though they're getting a punch, they're retaliating well in this game.
Let's see now. They definitely is getting a punch in, but 2XD, well, I guess they still have a manpower and firepower to do so. Swaroop will be swooping in perfect timing coming from Don't Cry. Now, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have a weapon on him, but of course in personal, Don't Cry being cheeky, switching it up with that sniper, still managed to take that land. But here comes the Revenant squad of GG Instinct, and they managed to go for the pickup as well as the elimination.
GG Instinct, the most persistent team in the lobby. Look at how strongly they were interested to take this fight. They know the topography so well that they were able to put down any team coming to that vicinity. But for now, Godlike Yogi with that sniper. Can he land one? Misses it, but I believe... Oh my god! EXE from far away gets eliminated. And that means the team which is starting out so good in this lobby is also looking for an early exit.
Well, let's see now. I mean, it's tough. But it's good enough that we're only seeing 2 teams being eliminated in the almost 7-minute mark. Godlike now with their 6th elimination, but they're still outside of the blue. So they need to move fast because they are slowly losing real estate later on. Now, as Hind tries to position themselves, probably take advantage. But as we look into the instant replay right now, this is where that final moment against Extreme X happened, where Shoto managed to land that shot. But again, going into Hind for elimination, and Pandora is not out just yet.
Team in the way they're recovering after every single fight, even though they have 2 to 3 players down, an instant revival comes through and then they're ready for a fight, and that's one of the reasons why Pandora is kind of suffering. They're not understanding. Putra in deep trouble, and he's gonna get taken down as Shoto, considered the strongest of this lobby, will be landing the last guy down, making sure that Pandora's box is shut for this game as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Pandora's box has been open, but they're the ones who got those plagues. And Pandora Stars would be moving up to the constellations, waiting for the next constellation and waiting for the next lobby to open up as they wait for this one to end. Godlike, though, 7 elimination from Kota to 1. They might be able to move quickly if they use the other zipline, not this one because it's going outside of the zone, but they're just waiting for opportunity as well, if in case someone would be backstabbing them as they head into the next phase of the circle. But looking at the minimap itself, there's no one who might be going in contention, but thank you production for giving us the full map right now, an idea as to where the other teams might be happening. Binoculars, I believe, has been triggered by Godlike as they slowly head into Pochinok, but 2XD has been waiting for any unsuspecting teams, but let's see. I think Godlike has that expectation of bringing them down.
Hopefully, but Team Hind, it seems like they've got into another fight. The Time Turner is going to get that revival. Even though it's going to be hard for Team Hind, they recover well. They put down a player. It's 2 players down, and all comes down to Shoto, who also gets punished. And the last man standing, KD God, since he had the distance, will have to head to the nearest vending machine as quickly as possible, because the wolves are come here for hunting. And Revenant XSpark, once they have an information, they don't shy away from a fight. But Team Hind, all 3 of the players gets revived with no problem whatsoever.
Now, let's see now. Problem might be happening in a bit as the second to third phase of the circle will be closing in. But I'm loving gameplay coming from Horaa. They timed that FGL to take down a couple of players from Hind, and thus they got those points. 2XD right now in the battle against Godlike, and it's only Don't Cry putting so much pressure from this side, and the rest of the squad are just getting in position. But with that stealth bite triggered, he thought he was safe, but Don't Cry definitely crying after Yogi made that hit.
Godlike, for the first time, I've recovered and looked the strongest in the lobby. They've got a good footing inside the circle. But what's more important is how they prioritize the further circles with Team Hind, Revenant XSpark, all these teams already inside that circle. Got such good hard covers. I don't know how easy it's got to be, but KD God, the sniper, the most underrated sniper from the Indian region, lands one more as he gets his 5th elimination in this lobby. From a distance, doing the deed, steals another one this time around, making sure that the Wolves have also been eliminated.
A couple of eliminations just from 2 shots, but that's a little bit of payback coming from KD God after their teammates has been eliminated by Horaa, and he just brought them back. But he's just ready. Even his solo as a team are looting up. But what are they going to do right now? It's Revenant XSpark just on this side, and the hit list has been triggered. But I don't think anyone from Revenant XSpark needs protection. But I spoke too soon. It's Godlike from behind, out of nowhere, introducing themselves in this party.
Godlike, they need to make sure they're pushing in case they have an opening, because Revenant XSpark, if you let them breathe, they're gonna pounce upon you in moments to come. UXD, another team from a distance who got that bird eye view on Godlike, would look forward for an opening, but luckily Godlike were clever enough. Again, they get themselves inside hard cover. As I said, this is the first time we have seen Godlike survive for so long in today's games. Not only that, they've also got all 4 men standing. Nobeta, Marco and Nancy for now on our screens. And 3 Indian teams at the very center of the circle.
Let's see though, I mean, from this area, from this view, seems like they will be slowing down right now. Third, going to the 4th phase of the circle, no one needs to be hanging outside the blue. And that's one reason as well, as Martial Electric is being occupied by these 3 teams, and a few more are introducing themselves. It's Autobotz from above, but Venom, I don't think he will be able to sink those fans into everyone, because he's in view of the opponent. GG Instinct though, loving the play of going in for a rotate, but later on, once they're out in the open, they might be taken down. But Hind now focusing on Expand, and the Fick has been taken down.
KD God gives the opening, and Shoto says, I go, and immediately a plushie comes in from the other side to give more damage. A glue wall melter to make sure the opponents do not do anything, but Shailjot's grenade connect, and now the push comes in from the side of Shoto, weaving his way through those glue walls. Will be able to land one, but a trade comes in from the other side. Team In needs to recover because Walls on the other side is already doing the damage. Shailjot, the last man standing, needs to rotate around, but he looks forward to fall back. Needs to be careful, and Walls is not letting him breathe. He's chasing him. That 1v1 battle, Shailjot still survives. Walls, he's got recovery in his team, but Team Hind, they have to fall because Expand have just made sure that Team Hind doesn't survive.
That shot with M590, just clinical. That swing was just on point, but it's just unfortunate that a lot of teams has been waiting for that engagement to open up. But as we switch over into the 2 teams that has been occupying that area quite early into that battle, I think that's still a stalemate from that side as we head into Autobots going against GG Instincts, the team that has been hanging on the side. But it is troublesome, especially if you are in open. But with this shot from Autobots, they are slowly transforming into monsters.
Absolutely. Autobots are rolling out in this lobby. Venom, but now it's got to be tagged, and look at how many glue walls comes out of nowhere. to get that revival. All 4 players are looking strong for now. They may need to make it inside the circle. They use the mini launcher and get to one of the safest spots inside the circle. But they need to be careful because Revenant XSpark, now I have an idea. But at the same time, 2XD, they're also getting into a fight. But X-Man says probably it's time to take down the Autobotz.
Oh no, it is Expand who's being taken down by the Autobots right now. They were just a few seconds late on that jump, and even Luki cannot do anything with that shot. It's into the cover, and he's focused more on Godlike on the other side. But 2XD putting pressure on them, and Johan will be taken down as we also say goodbye to Expand. We're now looking at the final 4 teams of this battle.
Absolutely. Godlike, Autobotz, Revenant XSpark, and 1 from the Bangladesh. That's got to be 2XD. All 4 players need to be careful. But I'll tell you this, my enemy's enemy is my friend, and that's what they're going to be looking at. None of them would want to initiate a fight. Revenant XSpark, being the safest in this lobby so far, have got just 2 eliminations. We'll have to look forward for some after this circle. Godlike on the other side. They know to push, and this time they've chosen to push, but the gods have been wounded as they push forward. But how well can they recover as the wolves are also hunting them down?
Oh, Revenant XSpark, smart move using that Bolt Maker. The moment that they smell what Godlike has been cooking, and they just damage them overall. X-Divine needs to be picked up because the pressure would be coming in from the other side. It's 2XD right now, as well as Autobots. And as we say goodbye to Godlike from this lobby, it is Autobots right now who would be flanking behind Revenant XSpark with pressure coming from above. The Bangladeshi team, 2XD, Revenant XSpark, they still fighting back, and they're bringing a couple of players from Autobots down.
Absolutely, Revenant XSpark, they know that they need to take the fight on both these ends. But this time, as they climb up the ladder, they know how strong an uphill battle can go against them. Adam gets taken down, the confirmation comes through, but Divine gets taken down, and the confirmation was so quick. Now Don't Cry puts that incognito to change that position. And Hush needs to be careful. Mad God still alive. The glue wall melter comes in, and Hush is waiting for that opportunity. Mad God goes in for a fight, but outside of the circle gets eliminated. And Revenant XSpark versus 2XD. It's a 3v4 battle, and let's see who takes it home.
3v4 definitely is something that you don't want to be in, but slowly he is recovering. Don't Cry right now, after one of the few players who's has been eliminated right here, is now back on the final 2 teams. Revenant XSpark though, grouped up, and let's roll, and even go for OP, managed to take down Janos. Now it's 2XD who's trying their best to survive, but the trade has happened. Pickup is prioritized. It seems like 2XD doesn't want to fall down that easily, as Revenant XSpark is falling down their knees. It's Bangladesh 2XD for that booyah.
I'm happy to see at least 2 of my predictions there in the final circle. Nonetheless, 2XD, what an impressive final circle they had. Especially that final moment where I had one player taken down, Psycho if I'm not wrong, but still they put a time turner in that pressure situation. Revival comes through, uses the time turner to their advantage, and then takes down the complete squad of RNTX. The Wolves did not have an answer, because it was 2XD's Foxes were there for the hunting.
Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen in Mill, the aggression is on them. They didn't falter, even if they are spread out. And the same story is happening right now. They were just on Overwatch from before they met up with most of the teams in this final 4-team lineup. But it's more of patience against aggression, and we've seen how Revenant XSpark has been aggressive all throughout. But from that specific area, with Godlike is trying to recover, is where 2XD managed to outwit them and just ram them down, taking out most of the player from that CQC and grabbing that booyah.
Absolutely well said out there, breaking down that fight in that final moments. But again, I believe that Revenant XSpark, they were kind of having a second thought. They were going for a 1v2 split, expecting Vincent to grab all the attention. But Team 2XD, they pounced upon those who were stagnant, put them down first, and ultimately they knew that it was a last man standing. What a phenomenal booyah taken away from 2XD in this game, due to which They're going to be rewarded 22 points. But guess what? Autobotz were rolling so hard in this lobby, they grabbed the limelight with 25 points for themselves and 17 eliminations.
Oh, definitely looking at the scores right now. There's a lot of teams that we expected to really bring it on. Titanic is one of those that we thought is already going for that consistency, but unfortunately the first team to be eliminated. Even Expand didn't last that long, but is this enough for the teams to be brought down out of that #1 spot? Because Autobotz was part of that final 3 teams, and they are quite near against Expand right now, but I think there's still a few more nudge that is needed by Autobotz Esports to be able to get that #1 spot. Probably by the next game, they'll be able to achieve it.
Absolutely. Again, the MVP of this game, Don't Cry, literally making everyone in the lobby cry with that sniper. This is the second time we're able to see that a sniper has been the MVP for the team.
Yep.
KD God was also doing exceptional being a sniper for the side of Team Hind. Now we have got Don't Cry from 2XD also doing the same. 5,273 damage for 7 eliminations with a Morse. And we did see him go incognito at times to get that information.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Stealth Bites with his position, I was a little bit worried, especially in that final moments reposition using that Moors, but I guess it's just part of the plan. Let's take a look at the rest of the squad right there. And we know for a fact that that time turner has been crucial in most cases, especially for the pick up on that final moment, and loving that 2 of their players are working as a support.
Yeah.
Again, we see that Tiva being used right now, which is crucial from those specific moment, and they managed to pull it off quite easily. Psycho right now with that Valiant dash and Oscar, but you can see also that Olivia that spreads out that healing for the rest of the squad. So it's not too aggressive for a skill build, but I guess it's more of their survivability in those fights.
No wonder this team had that, double Tiva going on, because they knew the survival is going to be the key, and the final fights is where they come in to dominate. And it was just one player, the sniper, from a distance doing everything until everything was falling in place. Psycho on the other side has got 1,194 damage for the 2 LMs. Not as clinical as the rest of the squad, but Jonas, look at him. 5 assists for 400 damage, shows that he was precise in his shots.
Yeah, well, precise, but it's just unfortunate that it doesn't put in that much elimination. But we can take it as long as we get that booyah. And now I want to see where 2XT has been running from. I think they dropped into Bullseye, rotated into Riverside, and then outside the blue, almost being taken out. And then that's where they jump in from Kotatua into that final circle. They were just hanging outside and they're waiting for the perfect opportunity, and it does show earlier when Godlike was peeking on them on that from that low ground to high ground, and it's just the perfect moment that 2XT has been waiting for. Not really too aggressive, but it's more of the booyah that they're aiming.
Look at how south the circle has gone. I've never seen a circle so far away from Mass Electric that everybody will have to come down south. And for sure, those teams who knew this topography well did take a greater advantage. The second circle is turning out to be a less chaotic one as teams try to shy away from fights, but it was Team Him doing the deed as most of them were trying to make it into Mass Electric. Look at them have so many eliminations at the get-go itself. But 2XD, they had fights only in the 2 circles, the first one and the last one, and that was more than enough for them to walk away with the booyah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough though, because if you're chasing for at least a top spot to secure your position towards the main event, or the grand finals, I would say, you would at least put in a lot. But I guess I do agree with 2XD. If you find your final circles all throughout this map, or all the matches that they will be playing in the main event, I guess that's where we slowly build in getting elimination. And we've seen them get into that elimination even from the first phase of this competition in the play-ins. But it's just a little bit risky this time around because they were at the bottom of that, or 7th place though, bottom of that top 8 that is required to get into this phase. But let's no more waiting. Let's take a peek on which map we'll be playing on that game number 6.
Oh, keeping my fingers crossed. I love Kalahari or Bermuda. Either of this, I'm going to be happy. And this time, it seems like I'm not going to be disappointed. It's going to be Bermuda yet again. But this time, the circle, where is it going to go? Because the last time it was at Mass Electric, it was a chaos in the lobby. And this time, Neptune, you know, I love predicting the circles rather than the teams winning it. So I would put you on the spot. Where do you think the circle is going to go in this one?
Bro, I mean, if we're talking about a circle, I think this time around it's moving towards probably the northeast.
Okay.
That's where I was assuming to be. But that would depend on the flight path as well, because there's a few instances or more instances wherein the flight path is countering where the final circle
Exactly.
would be. But it's just me. It's just me. So that would depend on what the RNG has to offer.
Absolutely, but now it's time for us to look at our predictions, and it's time for you guys to also put predictions. I'm going to go with Team Hind, Autobotz, and Pandora. Pandora, obviously, because they're going to be the wounded lion this time around. We have got Autobotz, who were showing so much of aggression in the previous game. They did try to survive until the end. Team Hind were also getting a good control over the circle. For this very reasons, I've got these three. When I look at your predictions, I'm kind of shocked to see that you're still inclined towards RNTX and Horaa, because even though they have a good circle, even though they're having some really good fights, it seems like they're unable to have that momentum going.
I was just a little bit too lazy to change it. No. Jokes aside, it's just that I'm still seeing hope coming from the teams right now. Like Expand with their really consistent in getting all those points, not really being left behind, but it's just some of the teams who's slowly catching up to them as well. Horaa, we've seen the aggression coming from them, and again the turnaround that has been done by Revenant XSpark. I'm still putting in that hope for them, that belief that they'll be able to get at least close to that Booyah, or if not the Booyah itself.
No, you spoke about comebacks, right? I strongly feel like Godlike might be able to do something phenomenal in this game, because they always end up the day on a very high note. Yogi is well known to do so. He knows that, you know, when it is the last game, he doesn't experiment much. He goes back to the basics. He sticks to the textbook basics. He makes sure his team is doing well. Aim for that Booyah with certain amount of eliminations. And I do believe that, you know, adding them would have been a little bit better. Nonetheless, I've got the best of three in my predictions, hoping, fingers crossed. And at the same time, let us know which is your favorite team from your specific region and the reason also. Because that is where we as casters kind of pick up so many points from you guys.
Yeah, I do agree. I've been watching the chat as well as we were casting. But going back to your point of comeback, I'm trying to question that right now, because comeback means you will be coming from a lower point.
Yeah.
And Godlike has been a high point from that previous Bermuda map. So if you're aiming for a higher one other than the 70 points that they have, it might be tough, especially with the lobby that we have right now. So coming back would mean that they might be coming back on the next day that they will be going to play, and I'm not hoping, but I think there's a lot of teams who will be gunning against them, putting them somewhat close to the bottom of this leaderboard for that second Bermuda game. But again, it's more of assumption, not really based on numbers, and we know that they have that fire on them right now.
So ladies and gentlemen, who do you agree with? Do you think Godlike will be able to make a comeback? Or do you feel that Neptune seems to be a bit more practical in his decision, as we'll be heading into the final map of the day, the default one which we all love? We're going to be heading into the map of Bermuda. Let me tell you this, the things are going to just intensify as teams now know the strategies. Everything is an open book, and the team to adapt will be walking away with the Booyah. In moments to come, share it among your friends, because the upcoming map is going to be the default map of Bermuda.
Yep, back into the green grass of Free Fire right now. There's a run now waiting to happen. Caught halfway between safety and disaster, as the flight would be coming from the north this time around. I think it's quite different from earlier. It was cut off from the middle, from Cape Town to Hangar. Now they are coming from Mill, and Revenant XSpark will be dropping in there with a little bit of Riverside in that mix. Pick would still be occupied by Expand, and hopefully they chooses a spot where they need to relocate from the edge to the center, because I think that middle drop doesn't work for them that easily. But as we look into Mars Electric, a few of the teams already gathering in there. Titanic going against Pandora, as well as GG Instinct. That would be troublesome right now.
Speaking about troublesome, Neptune, you predicted a northern eastern circle, and the circle is nowhere close to the eastern or the northern side, my friend. You know, I was about to say I agree with you on that. I just held on to my words, and for now, I'm going to be rewarded for it. Getting back into the game, Pandora, they're trying to be, you know, the ones taunting the opponents, trying to make sure that they make a mistake, but somewhere far away, it's Team Hind punishing Horaa, and vice versa.
Oh, let's see it. I mean, they also have another team, 2XD, in that mix. So it's a three-way battle there. It's a 3-4-way battle here, and this is just aggression overall. I don't know, momentum coming from the previous game, because if it's the same map, then I guess it's more of taking advantage of the knowledge that they have. Titanic, though, is a little bit slow this time around. They don't want to risk being eliminated early. They slowly want to catch up, but Cyber with an X, bringing that X factor, taking Chinoy down, and it's not looking good for Titanic, especially with a lot of teams that might be targeting them from afar.
Tio immediately falls back, says to his teammates, probably there might be more than what we can chew on. And that's where teams come in. Titanic on the other side as they rush in over Horaa for now. They're going to be rewarded with 2 eliminations. Palm seems to not holding back anymore. And that's kind of helping in their favor. And I would want this team to push Palm in the front line. Even though he's a sniper, he's able to give you that opening. And look at his presence of mind. He comes out in the open, gets information, and then he tries to play. But 2XD, they are the first team to be eliminated. It's the gods singing the songs of death.
Well, it is a Booyah curse singing on their ears from that moment. And, oh, it's just unfortunate for 2XD. Up close and personal, we thought that Titanic is already on a roll, but no, they're the ones rolling on the ground as they are the second team to be eliminated. And Expand seems like they are looking for the third spot as GG Instinct is putting pressure in Pochinok right now. Expand, though, coming from peak, heading into Pochinok, not looking good. Even if they have potential elimination that is open for them, they're also bound to get shot. And Expand does go down in 10th spot, the third team to be taken out.
Look at the point difference. Expand gets taken down with 94 points, and we have got 4 Indian teams after them who are trying to catch up. Autobots have got a great opportunity to top the table, and so does this side of Team Hind. But for now, on our screens, look at how EXE have placed themselves. Not had a great run throughout the day, and they're also looking forward for some early eliminations so that they can make a comeback. Sajin with that shotgun trying to push in, doesn't realize that nobody's home. As Pandora at that nth moment puts up a glue wall to reveal their location. Flicker, he gets taken down, and suddenly pressure shifts on EXE.
Oh, let's see though. EXE right now, revive has been done, but battle's not yet over. Rest of the squad will need to recover, but as we see that cryo mine, it was disrupt their minds. For at some point, Rusty has been taken down. Pressure coming from Pandora is still on.
Ooh.
But up close and personal, they fire back, and Sejan with M590.
Whoa.
He sends though respond. It's just back and forth, but the pickup is still possible.
Pandora, they're rumbling in this lobby. Look at them punch right and left. There was a fair trade of things, and then Otanga, he comes out at top, getting 3 of those eliminations. You know, coming in from 2 different directions makes so much of a difference, and that's how Pandora was able to, you know, unbox themselves and make sure they get more eliminations. But for now, we'll look at the 2 teams who like to play it safe. It's got to be Godlike and Revenant XSpark. Look at the instant replay. That is how the Titanic sank as the iceberg was Pandora this time around. And Expand as well. They couldn't do much. And I don't think so. They've done enough.
Yeah, they've done enough, but, well, that might force them out of that #1 spot, but I do agree. Arsenal taking a lot right now, and let's see if Revenant XSpark will be able to break down the glass.
Revenant XSpark, they watched for too long. They had to strike when the iron was hot, and it seems like now they've found that metal on the ground as Gopo tries to put some shots. On the other side, Godlike, the more time you give the gods to survive, the more blessing in disguise, they become stronger. If they fall
See
back
those.
to that vicinity, I don't think so it's going to be easy, Neptune, because Revenant XSpark, they had such a good time to take them down, but still they took so much time. Godlike survives.
I mean, it's tough right now. I mean, most of the time, you need to rush in the opponent, but if you don't have opening, or if some of the teams might be beating you down from either side, and we're looking at the 4 squad within this vicinity, you will not, like, your aggression would be stopped. Your momentum would be stopped. So it's a smart move from Godlike as well to head into Factory, to move away from potential engagement, and now they will be in a good spot to wait for the next phase of the circle. And that's one reason as well why most of the teams didn't go for the fight for this engagement, because they are waiting for the next circle to come in. And I'm still hoping that it would still go north. But no, it gets back into the next phase of the circle. That's one reason why I don't want to predict anything, because it's going south. I mean, my prediction, not the zone.
So the next time I ask for a prediction, say the opposite of what you're thinking, my friend. Probably you'll get everything right. But for now, Revenant XSpark on the receiving end of things. Gopu gets taken down, and GG Instant realize that they've got a chance to capitalize. And look at how Revenant XSpark are falling back from this fight. They're like chickens with no head. As Harsh falls back to a very close compound, it's Swaroop who's chasing him down. Probably the opening is going to be in front of them, but Harsh retaliates beautifully. But Power says, I am okay.
Well, for here up close and personal, that could have been a one-way battle. Revenant also lose Divine. Getting tough right now from Revenant XSpark. And I'm sorry if this is what's happening.
This is the toughest of the lobby. And you expect everybody to give their best. Every rotation, every decision you take has to be rewarding, or else someone else is going to take that away from you. Horaa Esports making Clock Tower theirs. They literally want the time on their side because they're not having one. Pandora at the 9th spot, where we expected them to be one of the strongest in the lobby, Neptune. What do you think is going wrong with this team? Yep, completely agreed on that. They had to be, kind of more prepared for this lobby. I know that the rest of the teams have done their homework. I'm not denying that Pandora have not, but it's just that the counter strategies are not that strong. Whereas on the other side, Autobotz go in for a 1v3 split with Venom. He's got that off angle and the information, and that's how Kunal and Johan are able to make it into the circle. EWG as well, they get taken down. Horaa all of a sudden reigning supreme in this fight with a blink of an eye. It seems like Thanos has just snapped his finger.
Oh, they were a little bit late in the party. Only 3 elimination. That is just coming from EWG. But they have eyes on Cyber already. I think those UAVs making it work for them. But a scan on to Clock Tower, probably spotting a Pandora Esports or Pandora Stars right now, who's jumping in just behind them. And Horaa needs to be careful right now, as they will need to secure this position for the moment. No, they move away. They might be caught off guard as they force themselves onto EWG's final player. And the opening might have been taken by Pandora Stars. But nope, they didn't make that move. And it's Horaa who goes for that confirmation, eliminating EWG. But here comes a Cryo Mine, the signal for the fight.
Pandora needs to be careful, but retaliation is the answer as Tops puts down Otong. Look at how Horaa immediately revives. The treatment gun comes into play, immediately making sure the team is up and kicking. Horaa Esports not shying away from fights, gets back to the center of that clock tower. Godlike, Pandora and Horaa, all 3 teams feels like the final circle is going to come to the clock tower region. Autobotz yet again holding the corners of this vicinity, making sure they have eliminations before they enter inside the circle. Will that pay off yet again? Because previously when they tried to do it, they did not have such a good ending.
Well, let's see though. Good ending is not what we're looking at for now. It's more of a good engagement that they have to win. 4 teams in our view right now from this high ground. Horaa managed to secure their position after going against that final EWG player. But Godlike, when a Cryo Mind stops, will have information on them, and the rest of the squad is firing against them. But Godlike is taking their position seriously, not given an opening against those on the higher ground. But all those is unfolding as Pandora Stars is waiting for that perfect opportunity. You saw that 2 AWMs waiting to get triggered. But as we switch on the other side, it's Revenant XSpark slowly moving in. Hopefully they can catch up on the points that they have been aiming for.
This is the first time we're able to see that Revenant XSpark is not prioritizing the circle. Shows that they might be looking forward for more eliminations in this game. As they come in closer, they're trying to hit them head against a rock because GG Instants are not easy to take down. Even though they've got that opening, the time turner and the Thiva revival has been strong, but GG Instants, they don't realize that the Wolves have come in to howl as they take down players after players. Gopu leading that fight, and suddenly we see that GG Instants, they tuck their tails and run away. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy, Neptune. I'm just gonna steal that words off your mouth. As Revenant XSpark, they were having such a good time, and the third party comes in. It's gonna be Team Hind taking advantage of all this. And before we could blink, before we could see where Revenant XSpark are, they go out of the lobby.
That's the thing, though. I mean, despite of GG Instinct winning the fight, Team Hind was just waiting in the shadows, but they will need to move. Now, a little bit of recovery right now, despite of that Bolt Maker Lightning Zone on them. But GG Instinct is not out of the woods just yet. They might be able to recover, but that means Tiger will need to move fast because that zone is aching to bring him down. As we look into Autobotz right now, slowly moving in against Team Hind. Showdown might be the first one to be taken down, and let's see if they are going to push or probably fight back against this Autobotz team.
Wolverine needs to survive the MPP for the team. He's been doing well. Look at KD God, so far away from this team, no angles whatsoever to give that back up, and that's why Shaljat says we need to fall back. But Autobots, they're persistent. They're trying to take down Shoto, but the grenades, it's being tossed in the right direction. As Kunal and Mad God, they come in closer. It's Shaljat trying to get that off angle. Can he land a shot? No, it's not going to be the case, as it's going to be Mad God puts him down. Team Hind trying to recover from this fight. Shoto puts him down, and eventually Autobots, they get eliminated as Team Hind gets 50 eliminations in this game.
Well, one of the most elimination that we've seen coming from Team Hind, and as we look into other teams, the only team that follows is GG Instinct, but unfortunately they have only one player. A follow-up from the other side, it's Tio who managed to land that shot as well in coordination with Tiger, and pressure from out of nowhere, not even seen by Team Hind right now. And speaking of not being seen, he switched into that stealth bites with that Moors and try to move into next phase circle, and Hind is now receiving a lot of pressure from this side of map from Pandora Stars.
Team Hind has to not worry because look at them, they're at the very top of the table with 96 points for themselves, and they've already proven to us why they are the champions from the Indian region. Shoto survives to make sure that he plays for survival. Whereas Pandora on the other side, they were trying to hold on to their horses for so long and now trying to unleash the max of what they have. It's going to be Otang, Tio, both of them trying to do their best. Shoto trying to run out in the open. His location is obvious, and let's see how long he's going to survive this.
Bro, imagine just moving from tree to tree, now goes in for the launch pad, not being shot at, and even Extreme X got eliminated first. But let's see, it's just unfortunate. We thought that Team Hind might survive a little bit longer, but what can you do with 3 teams with a full squad looking on the skies, trying to beat you down? There's little to no chance of that happening, that you will be surviving. So let's see though. It's battle between Horaa, Pandora Stars, as well as Godlike, coming from 3 regions in this final circle.
We did speak about Godlike. I told you, at the end of the day, you can expect Yogi to play it with the basics. Look at him, not involving in fights, making sure that he only strikes when the iron is hot. Yogi looking for an opening over here. does use that Riptide Rhythm, is unable to break those walls. Nobita on the other side with that grenade launcher will be able to land too perfectly. The retaliation might come through, but at the same time, Horaa are being wounded as Pandora wants to take advantage of this. Godlike were trying to do their best. Look at how well Horaa is playing this as Pandora puts down 2 players. Godlike are now being handicapped. 2 players at the top. Nancy wants to fall back and get that revival as it's got to be eyes on the other side. Pandora, it's time for them to strike, but they hold on for a long time. And have they done a mistake?
Tio has been taken down out of the Groza coming from Marco. Perfect timing when they thought that cryo mine has been their advantage. Pandora is now about to fall down, and Godlike, what a godly booyah in this final game.
That one point where they found Godlike the weakest, they should have struck. They did not do so, and we all know when the gods rise again, when they resurrect, they're well known for reaping the bats out of the lobby. And Godlike, they're gonna walk away with smiles on their face. And again, you know, I have to press my fist hard to say, why didn't I put them in my predictions?
You might have believed me so much after I made that point of a comeback. But again, I mean, it's just that we've seen a lot of teams who really doesn't bring that much of fire right there. And we were expecting that it might be a slow pace in this game. They might be thrown off guard because of how they were somewhat not being that aggressive from that previous match. But I'm loving it. They managed to survive. Even that clutch play, we can call that a clutch play. With that final moment being brought in from that low ground as Pandora tries to sneak in a cryo mine, pushes against them. A couple of knocks that has been done from both sides, from one of the lower ground as well as from above, and it's just that communication from Godlike that made them earn that win.
And one more thing, as soon as a player got off from the roof, the other player was clever enough not to give any kind of footsteps, and that's where Pandora thought that, okay, nobody is there, you know, above us. I believe it's the only 2 players in front of us, and they come out without information where the rest of the thing just fell in place for Godlike. The damage which was dealt from above the building was more than enough for them to walk away with an exceptional booyah as they get 24 points, 12 LMs, 12 placement points. I love it when things are even, Steven.
Well, even Steven indeed, but is this enough to push them higher on leaderboard? Because again, Godlike from the beginning of this, from this day, they did manage to put decent amount of points, but there's a few wherein it seems lacking. Purgatory is 1, wherein they only have 1 point, and then we switch over to Solara as well. They only have 6 points, but for the rest, they did manage to get like 10 or double digits out of those games. So hopefully we see most of that out of this team moving forward, but let us take a peek on who is the MVP from that game. This is based on stats, not from what we've seen in performance, but Marco, that finishing shot that knocked down a couple of players from Pandora Stars was that MVP moment, and he even managed to bring that Valiant Dash in, just put so much of hurt against Pandora Stars.
Absolutely, and I believe he's the most clinical MVP throughout the day. With just a damage of 1,975, he's got 6 eliminations and 4 assists. That shows that, you know, he had one job, shoot only when the time is right, and he's done that perfectly with an Oscar, J-Beebs, Nikita and Joseph. A perfect setup for a frontline assaulter. Marco has done everything throughout the day, and I believe there's more coming from the side of Godlike.
Well, looking forward to that more that they are going to bring in. Again, they have been averaging 14 points per match right now, though in terms of top performance, it's quite low. But let's take a peek on their skills right now. Again, it's Valiant Dash, that Aurora Vision coming from Koda, that Time Turner coming from Chrono, and we've seen how crucial that was on the pickup. He does have that Tiva, making sure that even if one of their team players has been knocked down, it's a quick recovery coming from them. And we've seen that aggressive Yogi on that Riptide Rhythm that clears the way to make sure that he has clean shot, or the rest of the team has clean shot on their opponents.
in this tournament, Nobita has been impressing me the most. He's survived to make sure he steals eliminations. He's made sure that he's got that launcher when it comes to the mid-range battle. He's been really good when it comes to the close range. And let me tell you this, in the previous FFMIC 2026 Spring LAN, he was the 5th player. Now coming back in the playing four, he's doing so well for the team. I believe that Yogi is going to be happy as an IGL. Marco as well, being the sniper, using the Groza, using the shotgun in close range. This lad is also doing everything for the team.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, if this is the kind of players that would be put in the mix right now, your IGL would have an easier time of leading the fray. You doesn't need to put up that much of numbers as long as you can focus on just supporting your teammates with your command. And I'm pretty sure that even without Yogi into the mix, like probably being knocked down or waiting to be revived, the rest of the squad is still ready to go in for the fight. But speaking of fight, let's take a peek at the circle analysis right now to see where teams has been running in from the beginning until the end of the map.
Speak about the beginning, it was Horaa not even interested to take any kind of fights. But still, as the circle started to shift their way, they were looking out for fights. They did register 2 or 3 in the second or the third circle, but after which it was all the doings of the god. Look at how until the 4th circle, Godlike were not interested in any kind of fights, and only in the final few is where they started to pick things up. Horaa also had a similar kind of a mindset, and I do believe that most of the teams who walked away with the Booyah have got a similar kind of an approach to the game.
Yeah, and that's one thing though. I mean, this kind of numbers is what you often see, or this kind of strategy is what you often see from the top dogs. You go in for early engagement, but it doesn't mean that you risk being eliminated. And then you go silently every face of the circle, find better position. And we even saw Clock Tower being occupied by 3 or 4 teams, and Godlike is one of those who's just in the edge. They are not forcing their way into the bigger area of Clock Tower. They waited for perfect moments on every shift of the circle. Thus, they managed to secure a 4-man or 3-man strong on that final moment. But again, that clutch play is just chef's kiss from that match.
Absolutely, but it's time for us to see the big reveal. Team Hind is going to be, top of the charts. Just imagine a team who was taken down with just 3 points in the first game. The amount of pressure that will be surmounting suddenly makes a comeback in the very next game, and after which they are on the top of the table by the end of the day. 27 points with 60 eliminations. It was their gun which was doing the talking.
Definitely. I mean, they need not to be talking. They just went silent in there and just pull those triggers. Expando. I mean, they were taken out a little bit early in that final fight, and that forces them to move down on second place. Autobotz, a team that they didn't even get that Booyah, but because of the effort in getting elimination, they got 53 of which, and even the placement point was close enough to compare with Team Hind as well as Expand. So I'm loving the consistency coming from this team and the comeback kings for this match. Godlike, after an inconsistent run, they even had, I already pointed this out, 1 point from Purgatory, 6 points from Solara, but that back-to-back great performance brought them a little bit higher.
Absolutely. 84 points, I'm sure that Godlike fans are not going to be happy with this performance for now, but yes, their hopes are not going to die. Expand is the only team from their region to showcase some true powers of what they can bring to the table. Horaa Esports on the other side, they were red too early. They started off on a good note. That 47 elimination shows that they were aggressive in the lobby. It's just that, they were red really quickly. Revenant XSpark is going to be one of the other teams who could have done so much better on the 69 points at the 6th position. But then comes the disappointments of the lobby. Titanic and Pandora, they've been the strongest if you see on paper. They know how to tackle. They have so much of experience under their wing, but it seems like they've kept it for the latter half of this stage. GG Instinct, Team 2XD, Extreme EX as well as Lakar. These are the teams who have learned the lesson the hard way, and I hope they make a comeback properly.
Well, definitely hoping for a comeback coming from specifically the three teams that you did mention, GG Instinct, Team 2XD, as well as Extreme X, because coming from our play-ins,
Yeah.
they were just one on top of the other on that ranking. So if they keep it up, they might not be able to get into the top of the board. And it's looking dire right now. But we're only talking about day number 1. They still have a few more chances to go in the upcoming days before that grand finals.
You reap what you sow, and the teams at the very top have done that. They've done half the work, and they'll be looking forward for an easy run in the upcoming games for these groups. But for now, we're going to make sure that, we leave you guys hanging with just one question. Which team has impressed you the most? Let us know in the chat, as we are able to see that there are some really big names which are popping up in the chat lately. It's kind of good for us to say that today's run has been exceptional. One thing which stood out for you, Neptune?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of highlights to really point out.
Yeah.
Just one out of this game. But we would like to ask everyone to watch out for tomorrow's game. We have Group C that would be introduced at Team Aki, Daewoo United, Hora's Hotshot Esports, NXT Esports, Straw Hots, and IQ Total Gaming. But for now, we're going to bid everyone goodbye and good night. I'm Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, joined by Arca, and we will see you next time.